Here it is, the brand new Asus ROG Maximus 12 Hero Wi-Fi motherboard. This Z490 based motherboard supports Intel's 10th gen processors. It's designed to offer an outstanding experience, stock or overclocked. The advanced VRM features an impressive 16 power stages to ensure more than enough power under heavy loads. This hero not only looks cool, but stays cool by design. This new heatsink design is bigger, better, and cooler than previous models. A 3-zone VRM heatsink with a large heat pipe keeps the power circuitry cool. And the M.2 heatsinks keep up to 3 SSDs at the right temperature for consistent performance. To the right of the CPU socket, we have 4 DDR4 DIMM slots for up to 128 GB of RAM. Thanks to our OptimM3 design and a new daisy chain topology, the Hero can overclock to higher frequencies like 4800 MHz and beyond. With support for our exclusive AI overclocking, AI cooling, and ROG GameFirst 6 software with AI networking, your system can automatically tune itself for the best performance with a few clicks. Setting the industry standard is our pre-mounted I/O shield, making installation a breeze. The back panel includes plenty of USB 3.1 Gen 1 and Gen 2 ports, USB-C, ultra-fast Intel Wi-Fi 6, dual LAN ports featuring 5G and 1G connectivity, Bluetooth 5.1, and analog and optical audio outputs powered by ROG Supreme FX for an immersive audio gaming experience that draws you deeper into the action. To expand your system even further, you'll find a USB 3.2 Gen 2 front panel connector, 3 PCIe 3.0 by 16 slots, 2 of which include our safe slot designed to keep your GPU safe and secure, 2 RGB lighting zones, one on the chipset and the other on the I/O shroud. Addressable and standard RGB LED headers let you coordinate lighting effects across your entire setup with Aura Sync. The best just got better with the Asus ROG Maximus 12 Hero Wi-Fi motherboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the XP Esports Women's League for our first week of the semi-finals playoffs. Blue Panda is joining me this evening. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Jumping on into playoffs and things are already looking a bit interesting. So, look, it was that big race coming into the final week of play as to who would be the one to make it in that fourth place spot. Grumpy Grapes were the ones to do it. And look, for their first playoffs appearance in a while, I'm excited to see what they can do.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how Grumpy Grapes can do it after making it into the top 4, knocking V8 out in the previous weeks. And I'm genuinely interested to see how it goes. But before we get into that, we're just going to run a few things that we go through every week. The format of the league, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we started off this league with the round robin group stage, 7 weeks. We are now on to the semi-finals, which is obviously best of 3s. And then we will move on to the finals, Panda.
Yeah, scheduling-wise, it's all coming together in the next week or so. And, I mean, look, it's been a long run. It's been a long road, but it's about that prize pool at the end. That's what the girls are playing for, of course. There is not just, bragging rights on the line here. And the teams, you can see them on your screen. Let's get a bit of a better look at the teams that are playing. Of course, we'll get the logos up so we can show you who they are. We started with 8 Overt, Grumpy Grapes, Volpez, Viking Army Warriors, Radical Rebels, Forsaken Boba, and Fallen Angels. They all started off back in week 1. Unfortunately, only 4 of them could make it through Proto.
And the 4 big teams that we have to make through to the finals: Overt, Grumpy Grapes, obviously the Warriors, and Forsaken Boba. So obviously, Panda going through the prize pool, as you were talking about, these teams fighting it out to get their chunk of a pretty big prize pool, obviously provided by Ubisoft. Thank you so much to them. First place, 1,500. And Panda, look, as well, the MVP prize, ZQ Racing, providing a chair as well. Thank you so much to them for that. But standings-wise, what are we looking at?
Well, we closed out week 7, and there you go. It's on your screen. Warriors undefeated in the round robin. Forsaken Boba dropping a single map, but it was to the Warriors, of course. Overt, Grumpy Grapes round out that top 4, both sitting at 4 and 3. Viking Army, Volpez, Radical Rebels, and Fallen Angels found themselves just outside of contention for playoffs. Unfortunate, but all these teams had some stellar moments.
Massive moments. Last week we actually saw Viking Army take a pretty big dub. Unfortunately, due to the round difference, though, Grumpy Grapes knocked them out in the final week of play to secure themselves that 4th spot, putting them in for the playoffs bracket, which I do believe we have to come up. But speaking of said bracket, Panda, what are we looking for this evening?
Well, tonight we jump on in with the Warriors and the Grumpy Grapes, that being 1st and 4th seed, of course. Look, expectations a little bit higher for the Warriors given their track record so far. Grumpy Grapes still could provide a bit of an upset.
100%. Both of these teams coming into it with everything to gain and everything to lose for the semi-finals. Obviously, the winner will secure themselves in a spot in the grand final, one of 2 places, with the other semi-final, Forsaken Boba and Overt, still yet to be played. But speaking of the teams, Panda, to have a quick look at who is playing tonight a little bit more in depth. The Warriors going up against the Grumpy Grapes. Some pretty big names.
Yeah, the Warriors fresh into the Women's League. They've got an OCL team, obviously, but these are players who are known and feared in certain circles. They're incredibly good at the game. AJ, Sav, Aussie Princess, Time for Pie, and Soy. Look, I have to say this, and I do. These girls could be competing at against some of the top competition in the region, not just the Women's League. They're incredibly skilled. They're incredibly capable. There's a number of women in this competition that could be doing that, and their coach as well played OCL this stage. Mm-hmm. So, this is a pretty stacked roster. Grumpy Grapes are going to have their work cut out for them.
Stacked, to say the least, but as you just said, on the other side of the card, Grumpy Grapes is going to be who is attempting to knock them off of that, no loss streak here tonight. I haven't dropped a map yet. Here is the roster to possibly do it. Cass, Bernabé, Serenity, Cheese, Yoshi, coaches on the line, Crescent and Webra, subs as well, Scoops, Novaweek, and as well Crescent again. The Grumpy Grapes, it speaks for themselves. They've had a really good performance this season so far. As you said, I believe the first playoffs that we've seen from them securing it this season. So tonight is definitely going to be a map to watch.
3 matches to watch, in fact, as we look to get on into that map veto in just a moment. We've seen some interesting maps throughout this competition. A lot of Villa, but today, Chalet, Clubhouse, Coastline, the 3 Cs coming into play. And, Chalet with the Warriors starting off first, they can get themselves out to an early lead.
Yeah, Chalet is definitely an interesting pick. Warriors starting things off on the defense side of things. Now, obviously, this is a map that favors the attack as opposed to the defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how Warriors can pull that off tonight. Obviously, without dropping a map so far this season, hopes are going to be high for them. They have that reputation to live up to, but it's going to come down to how they play it. Chalet's where we're off to first, Panda.
Yeah, we'll take a quick fly over the French Alps, of course, and I'm very keen to see what they can do. This map, it's sort of established itself quite well in the competitive meta. A lot of teams are liking to go there, are liking to be able to play something a little bit fresher, a little bit new. Obviously, you're not quite banked the newest map in our pool, but Chalet still allows for that innovation. You can still, you could be a bit more bold, a bit more audacious, get away with some plays that you wouldn't conventionally get away with.
Yeah, Chalet, given its rework now, we've seen a resurgence of it in competitive play. We've got an amazing amount of strategies that have sort of made their way up from the rework itself, which really allows a completely different style of play. So Chalet has become quite a scary map. But all the same, it's where we're off to first tonight. Warriors versus Grumpy Grapes in our first for this best of 3 series. Panda, what are you looking coming into this?
Honestly, the Warriors, they need to play some smash and grab siege. They can't be allowing Warriors to dictate the pace of these maps. They want to be the ones determining that momentum. Starting off the attack, which is the preferred side for Chalet, they can look to set themselves up for a clean road to the finish line. The half, the operator bans as well, will kick that off. Thatcher, no real surprises coming out of the Warriors. It's a standard, it's a staple. The last thing you want is those EMPs going off and enabling a hard breach.
Yeah, especially on a map like Chalet that requires so much sort of emphasis on holding those hard walls, especially upstairs for the office. Jackal's going to be the second band to come out from Grumpy Grapes, maybe wanting to enable themselves on the roam when they do switch over on the half. Possibly to follow, maybe a Cade, maybe something like a Mirror, possibly most likely going to be a Mirror to go on Chalet. Interestingly though, Panda, Flores has made it through, which is usually an operator you don't see make it through on Chalet now.
There you go, Cade Bannon. Yeah, Flores, I mean, it's great and all having the Jaeger and the WMI, but when you've got something like the Flores with those Rotero drones that could just completely circumvent it, the last thing you want to be able to do is enable that. So obviously, I mean, Grumpy Grapes force the Warriors' hand. Either you ban the Flores or the Thatcher, and then we can either decide to let Thatcher or Flores through. And, well, the Jackal, obviously, the more significant ban. Grumpy Grapes want to enable themselves on that roam when they switch over the defense. So they've come into the game plan.
Mirror also making it through that veto, with Valkyrie being the final to go from the Warriors, denying a little bit of that information. It's going to be an interesting Chalet with Flores on the board, Panda. It's going to be very hard to play all of the shields that we see. Well, they've become a staple for Chalet, really. What have we got? Top blue shield, we have a mezzanine shield, we have bar hallway shields, we have kitchen shields. Chalet is heavily dependent on that, but no Flores so far. There we go. Okay, cool. Serenity's listening. She's in the call with us right now. There's the Flores and the Mirror, actually, both of which made it through. So already interesting operator picks from both teams going into the first round.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they prioritize this Mirror. Of course, they pair it with the Frost. They enable that, they dissuade that heavy aggression that you see a lot of teams go for, especially attacking this bar gaming site. They're going to be wanting to hold top library. Like you said, they've got the Frost shield there, so they can set themselves up. They've also got time for Pie Shield, so they can play a couple of different cheeky angles with that setup. They wear my Jaeger as well. I mean, honestly, just everything that has been let through for the Warriors, I almost would have rated the Wemai ban over the Cade on this matchup.
Yeah, Wemai is something we've seen banned out a lot on Chalet as well. He allows so much easier of a hold towards top blue, which we already do see there being set up with that shield, usually paired with both the Jaeger and Wemai, which both have been allowed to come through. So Grumpy Grapes are definitely going to have themselves, spread thin in terms of the utility usage. We do have a lot on the board for them. Obviously, Zofia being bored, as well as flashbangs on the Hibana, 2 nades from Yoshi too, paired with the Retiro drones from Serenity. Grumpy Grapes do have adequate utility to clear out what the Warriors are bringing to the party, given that no mute is on board as well. So it's going to make Serenity's job a whole lot easier, but it's going to be the execution that comes down to whether or not they can clear these positions out.
I mean, the bizarre thing is, that was what Aussie was sitting on before she went for that 6-spec onto the Mirror. It was a mute. They could have done a little bit more to keep the top library shield in play, but they're going to have to battle it out. Burnabear, though, with the first frag, taking down AJ. Frost off the board early, and AJ being one of the primary fraggers for this team.
There you go. Cass finding one as well on the time for Pi. 2 big kills for GG so far. Possibility on finding a third. However, the rotation from Sab has been made. She's leaving. Not interested in fighting whatever was going on at the solar windows and is going to return back to the site. But for Grumpy Grapes, only a minute into the first round here of Chalet, and they've already found themselves 2 pretty big picks. Smoke and Frost off the board early is definitely going to be huge. And here comes the Rotira from Serenity as well to clear out top blue. It's all falling apart for Warriors.
Almost a bit of a cheeky team kill there. Yoshi was spraying at that window that Burnabear was standing on, trying to dissuade anyone from getting aggressive onto it. But for right now, yeah, it's the Rotero game. It's clear that utility had set themselves up for the push. Grumpy Grapes, I did say they came in with a plan, and that plan is working quite well.
A lot of aggression from them so far. They've toned it back down. Now a lovely shot from Sav. Takes down Yoshi. A lot of health forfeited in the process, though. Means that she is going to be within one shot from most of the guns being bought by Grumpy Grapes here. So that isn't going to be the best of scenarios to find yourselves in. But with only a minute left, no nitro left. The denial is thrown out from Aussie. Isn't going to connect. And instead, Serenity is going to be there to take down Aussie, leaving the Warriors with only 2 members left on the board to Grumpy Grapes' 4.
Final minute, and the setup is there. 2 players to hold on for the Warriors. Is a pretty bleak spot to be finding yourself in. And you look at the positioning of Grumpy Grapes, you look at the vert, you look at the tools, you just look at everything that's lining up for them here, Proto. And I mean, barring some miracle out of thin air, I don't know if Warriors can hold on. There we go, though. Soy, that could be the miracle kill.
If she can keep doing that, this could be the hope the Warriors need to take this first round away. We've seen teams win 2v4s in positions like this in the past, and I definitely wouldn't put it past the Warriors, but with Soy going down, it's going to be infinitely harder now for Sav to make a 1v3 work. Does find one, but Cass is there for the refrag. Grumpy Grapes, they're going to put round 1 on the board.
Well, an interesting start for the Grumpy Grapes. They came in, just managed to slide in under that limit there into the playoffs. They were top 4. It was a round differential that made all the difference. And so coming into this, for them to start this matchup the way that they are, that's confidence, and you love to see it.
Yeah, it was really dominant from the start from them. 2 big early picks, really allowing them to sort of open themselves up on the top floor. Serenity doing really good to clear out that top blue position early on with the Flores drone. Mirror being bought again here by the Warriors. Mute, however, has been worked into the fray this time. So AJ bringing out that mute this time, trying to shut down that Rotiro utility. However, a slight change, Panda. It's not going to be Bar again. They want to give the top 4 office a bit more of a go. Could this be the first round for Warriors switching up the site, a little bit of the playstyle as well, new operators, all sorts of a manner of things for them here? Could throw Grumpy Grapes off.
I mean, yeah, it's a matter of we'll have to wait and see, unfortunately. The way that they set themselves up, the way that they found those opening picks in the last round, Grumpy Grapes are doing the legwork they need to give themselves that big advantage in kicking a round up. I mean, we saw that upside down kill from Cass and Solarium. The way that they were finding picks is just so impactful. Warriors, I admire the change of sight, but whether it's enough or not, unfortunately, it's just something we're going to have to wait and find out.
100%. Some good setup as well. Default being opened up by Aussie there, setting themselves up for all of these post-plant scenarios they could find themselves in if Grumpy Grapes can have another round like the previous and actually make it into the side again in such a dominant fashion. But from GG, it is going to be a normal sort of standard southwest library take towards the front side of the bomb site. Warriors do have a bit of a roam game set up though. Sav on the lurking Jaeger, as well as obviously Soy on the Soulless Stairs. So not too much of an extension, very much more a lurk from the Warriors, but Grumpy Grapes still setting themselves up here with the drones to get that library control and start making their way into the building.
Drone play so far has been quite effective for the Grumpy Grapes. That information translating into the win, obviously, off of the kills. And if they can keep that momentum that they're generating with the impact info and drone play, this could get very, very scary for the Warriors very, very quickly. Burner Bear first in, straight into library entrance. Now they're getting themselves out towards that mezzanine wall into office. I mean, honestly, Warriors not doing a hell of a lot to slow them down, and that could come back to bite them.
Well, speaking of slowing them down, Sav is there to find the first onto Cass. Losing your Zofia early on is not necessarily the greatest of starts, but the mirror pick already proving to be fruitful here for Warriors. That's the first one for them in this round, but still half a round left for the Warriors to play with on the defense side of things. Grumpy Grapes now opening up the main wall, having cleared out the mute jammer utility that was there placed. But now a lady down, it's going to be a little bit harder for them now to get this bomb down unless they can clear all of the remaining positions of the Warriors.
Well, they have the opening into the site. Unfortunately, there is Vert that needs to consider that default half-wall plant spot. And you look at AJ down below, playing from dining, playing the stairs. What an angle. And that is diffuser down.
That was a nuts angle from AJ onto the library stairs. Serenity, though, is there to find the refrag. AJ goes down, but now it's Warriors that find themselves with that lead. player count. They have made their way into the site, though. Sledge is at default. Serenity going to start getting that diffuser down. The cross being held by Yoshi. Burnabear there as well to support. The bomb's going to go down largely without a hitch. Here comes the Nitro, though. It's huge! 2 for Aussie. Burnabear does find one in the fray onto Sav, but now left in a 1v3. She's not even going to get a chance. Time for buys there. The defuse is going to come out. Warriors are going to put their first round on the board.
I mean, what a long arm on the Nitro Cell. Right in the breach, right onto 2, and a huge chunk of burners here. Health as well. I mean, unfortunately, there's limited coverage you can get in that situation. You have to make sure that the plant goes down. That's what came back to bite the Grumpy Grapes. Unfortunately, in that situation, there's very little you can do.
Yeah, there really is, especially with all the crossfires that Warriors had set up for themselves. They had the piano angle onto default, that Jaeger was there to capitalize on. Sav obviously doing huge in that situation, just holding down the crossfire, allowing them to retake into the site. Really well done by Warriors in the middle to latter half of that round. Grumpy Grapes, they did good at the start. They found themselves the wall control. They actually made it into the site and got the diffuser down without a hitch, really. It was getting out of the post plan that was the issue, unfortunately, for them in that round. But still, very well done, a valiant effort. Equalised 1-1, but still early days, Panda. Anything could happen.
Anything could indeed. Well, one apiece now. They look to head back down to that Bar Gaming site. They are going to reset themselves, having transitioned things, switch things up, giving themselves that momentary reprieve so they can try and clear their heads and get ready for this one. And once again, we see the Wehrmeyer Jaeger in play. The dual shield set up. The top library shield is going to be a nuisance. The mezzanine shield is going to be a nuisance. So Grumpy Grapes, I mean, the smash grab style of play didn't work the second round. Something's got to give. And hopefully it can give their way.
It'll be huge for them, obviously, an attacker-sided map. Grumpy Grapes are going to be looking to put as many rounds on the board as they can early on here against Warriors, who haven't dropped a single match so far, and they are looking like they want to try and keep that up. For Grumpy Grapes, they're looking to end that streak. You mentioned the drone work before. It's been amazing for them, the amount of utility it has provided, just in knowledge that they've been able to act off so far, but they've made pretty good way already, first 30 seconds in, starting to take control of that library mezzanine side again, both sort of the pinch attempt from them, which we saw in the previous round. It did work to some avail. However, it's going to come down to time.
Timing is key for the most part. We know Women's League players, they know how to play that clock reasonably well. More often than not, it comes down to the frags rather than a timing issue at all. So, Grumpy Grapes, hopefully they can keep running with that, because the last thing you want to be doing is forcing yourself into an engagement in the dying moments of a round, because that always gets pretty tenuous. Rotero through top, library shield gone, ADS is cleared out. And that's why the Flores is so powerful on this map.
So close there as well for Serenity, almost getting across to the mezzanine shield that AJ resides by. However, shot out. Utility now gone. Yet to see a frag either way. Pretty big presence from Warriors here inside the library. However, Nade is going to force Sav to drop back down to the site. I think AJ and Time for Pi toying with the idea as well. Will lose a lot of HP on the cross there from Yoshi. Actually will find that kill though. FMG in hand takes out the first, and Warriors, they open it up with the first pick.
I'm going to, again, take that good ground early on. Burner for one, but it's traded back immediately. They cannot keep underestimating the Warriors' ability to answer back. The Serenity of the ground. It's on Cass and Cheese, but AJ ducking and weaving like the man himself. I mean, like, honestly, it was beautiful. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The man is... not the man. The lady, AJ. Honestly, it was Muhammad Ali-esque movements there.
Very well done. A triple for her so far. Looking for the quad. Grumpy, however, has the number. The Z pings are there. Information relayed. However, looks away at the wrong time. Siege at its best, ladies and gentlemen. And AJ is going to find the quad kill and ultimately the second round for the defense.
Yeah, look, AJ's cracked. We know this. Everyone should know this. You should never underestimate it. But I just cannot hype up enough how insane it was. Literally ducking under the bullets Cass was spraying in her direction. I mean, the counter-attack came. She finds 4 off the back of the round. Grumpy Grapes, that first round was a great start, but Warriors, they're answering back in kind.
Yeah, Warriors definitely are sort of shooting back with some utility of their own. 2 rounds now in a row for them on the defense. Kitchen is going to be the next sight from them, bringing that mute back into play for the second time so far. Little bit of a switch up for Grumpy Grapes on the attack. Ash being bought by Burner Bear, who someone we've seen Burner Bear do very well on in the past, albeit 1-2. Unfortunately for Grumpy Grapes, couldn't get that last round on the board. Only down 1, but Kitchen is a site that, if played well, can be very hard to attack. But if attacked very well, obviously goes without saying, very easy to attack. Whether or not Grumpy Grapes can employ some of the things we've seen from them so far, good drone work, vertical play, we've seen them do it, and we know that they're capable of doing it. The setup is going to obviously be a hard upstairs hold, so can Grumpy Grapes crack onto this?
5 seconds left before...
You'd have to imagine so. Coming into this, you gotta have faith that they've done their prep coming into the playoffs, of course. And well, Burner Bear on the Ash, not quite the R4C Ash that we've seen with the resurgence and the changes made back to the R4C, but the G36 still does pretty well on a pinch.
Yes, Ash mains everywhere rejoiced when the change was made. I know I myself was quite happy when the R4C was returned to somewhat of its former glory, but all the same, G3 in play here for Burner Bear. Still an absolutely cracking rifle. Some good damage traded back and forth here. Time for Pie takes a little bit, but deals some back onto Cass. So 50-50 trades on the board so far here for both teams. Drones cleared out as well, and utility dump possibly close to follow along. However, opting to try and clear out this drone on the solar stairs. 3 now being forfeited almost by Grumpy Grapes. Can't quite get the last one, but here is the support from her teammate as well. You hear Jaeger just outside of the bathroom popping off some shots towards the general direction. Run out, being prepped here. The Claymore will be cleared, but Cass is prepared. AJ falls, and very quickly a 5v4 to Grumpy Grapes.
Yeah, maybe not quite the coordination needed in that situation. You could have baited the run out and then had, time for Pie swing the window at top Solarium. Either way, not going to be the ideal situation, but what is ideal is the number of drones and the quick headshot there from Sav. New Zealand Warriors. In fact, did Cass just get so destroyed that her character model glitched?
And disappeared through the wall. Oh, you love to see it. Siege timing again. Unfortunate for Grumpy Cheese there. Looks away as Sav goes to swing. Some big kills so far, though, for the Warriors, putting themselves back on top in terms of the female count left in the round. Vertical opened up. Serenity getting into the office here is going to be relatively hard for her, but she's got the information on the cross, knows that someone is going to be close by, will just go straight on through, chooses to try and take the fight with the Arudi, but loses it out in the end. Soy sharp on the headshot, leaving it all up again to Grumpy Cheese. She did it in the previous round. Can she try clutch up? Nope, not even going to get a chance. Sav is there and waiting. The Warriors are going to get their third.
Well, so far, all but that first round, it's been the Warriors dictating the pace, and it was something that I did highlight. Grumpy Grapes, if they wanted a chance at winning things out here, they need to be the ones stopping that from happening. They need to be the ones dictating how the momentum generates, whether it's their way or not. At the moment, it's all Warriors' way.
Yeah, Warriors have been really dominant after that first round. They cleaned up the roam. They started switching some players around. They bought Mute and mixed him into the holds, obviously shutting down the utility from Serenity, making their life just a little bit easier. Obviously, we've highlighted multiple times already Grumpy Grapes using their drones a lot. And having that Mute, even just shooting all the drones. I mean, last round we saw, I believe, AJ alone shoot 3 drones by herself on Solar. The amount of utility Grumpy Grapes are throwing at Warriors on the defense for them to just simply shoot or deny with the utility is just big gains for the Warriors, and they are capitalizing on that. Grumpy Grapes, without that information play, have seemed to be hurt by that.
Yeah, hopefully, they've got 2 rounds in which to equalise going into the halves. Hopefully they can bounce back here. But right now, the Warriors not slowing down an iota. I mean, you look at Sav 6-1 right now. He's just hitting some ripper shots, running around with that 416 carbine. I mean, we saw that last contest towards the bathroom. They knew that she was there. Yoshi swings and just gets absolutely slammed. And again, it's just the sheer ability shining through for the Warriors.
The huge frag ability from their side. I mean, you can see why they haven't dropped a game this season. They have a really good ability to adapt, and we've seen it already in this matchup. Grumpy Grapes, however, starting things off in this 5th round, getting their drones in, gathering their information, starting to look to try and clear out that utility from below. That is going to be the job of Cass to get rid of the main wall. There you go. First Sophia charge sent out, and the rest of the Grumpy Grapes girls are going to be just droning, getting ready for the entry into the building, getting that information on the downstairs whereabouts of players. However, for Warriors, I do believe majority of them are actually going to be on the side at the moment, maybe alert towards Solar. We saw that from them previous last round, as well as obviously the extension downstairs that we saw AJ in the previous. So Warriors are set up pretty well inside of the site. Grumpy Grapes are taking their time, but that is something that is good to see from them, gathering all the information.
And primed and ready outside that main lobby. Quick frag here. Could definitely set them out for contesting that win. Shots exchanged. Soy tagged through the floor. These vert angles that we're seeing be put to good use here by both teams. On the attack and on the defense, AJ as well has been spotted a tag to drone ping. Just going to spray and hope that she hit it right now. AJ, last time she was here, did some real damage, but this damage, it's all falling the way of the Grumpy Grapes. Is that a default cam still up? That's unfortunate.
Default in main. This is going to be hurting Grumpy Grapes. Time for Pie to find the first onto Serenity coming up the main stairs, but Burner Bear was expecting it to find AJ on the flank. A 4v4 here, but Warriors lead in terms of damage dealt. Time for Pie going down, though, is going to make things for Grumpy Grapes look a little bit better with Yoshi finding that kill onto the Aruni. And now, I believe downstairs present has been largely cleared for Warriors here. Grumpy Grapes now starting to make their way up the library stairs. Still have a lot of utility left to deal with and only 45 seconds left to do it, Panda.
Hopefully that's enough time for them to make it. We're going into the final 40 in a 4 versus 3. The health bars still slightly favouring the Warriors, but with that window getting opened there by Yoshi from below. They've got the tools, they've got the guns. Last time they were here, though, Proto, it didn't quite end the way they wanted.
No, unfortunately not with that Nitro coming in handy, which does happen to be available again here for Aussie on the board in terms of the denial. No smoke, unfortunately, but all the same. 17 seconds is a lot of time to work with. Aussie opens things up with a lovely headshot onto Yoshi. Now a 3v3. Cass there to find one onto Soy. 2v3 now. Grumpy Cheese on low HP. Burner Bear on 50, waiting for the Nitro. The bomb's starting to go down now from Cheese. Is the Nitro going to come out from Aussie? She's going to try and make her way into the site. Stab on the flank. She finds 2. Finishes the round for Warriors. The defense walk away with another. What an amazing clutch.
Serenity. Daylight robbery there. I mean, it looked like it was a good setup for the Grumpy Grapes. They looked like they had the coverage they needed, but then Serenity just runs through piano double, gets a double for herself, and the round is over. And Grumpy Grapes have no clue what's just happened. This is just what the Warriors are capable of on game day, and I don't think anyone would have predicted that.
That was huge from Sav. That was absolutely monumental from Piano. Sending it. That's the second time, actually, we've seen Sav do that from the same position, albeit 1 kill the first time. 2 kills now the second time. Maybe the third she'll get 3, but all the same. Sav, huge from her reading that play, getting through onto the rotate. It was largely actually opened up by, I believe, someone on the attacking side, whether it was Zofia or Flores or something like that. All the same, the hole was made considerably bigger, which allowed for more sightlines. Sav obviously there to capitalize. Now 8-1 for her team, which is massive in respects to just the frags coming out from Sav on the Jaeger right now. Warriors looking pretty good, though. Healthy in terms of the round count, 4-1 just before the half. Obviously, this is the final round. And then we're going to see Grumpy Grape switch it over to the defense. But it's going to be difficult unless they can maybe get this to a 4-2. All the same, though, Warriors are looking pretty well set up for the next half.
I mean, it's also worth remembering that, attack tends to be the favoured side for Chalet for most teams. And Warriors are taking this quite convincingly. 4-1 at the moment, potentially that 4-2, even 5-1 on the horizon for them. Grumpy Grapes, despite their best efforts, and they really are bringing their A game. We saw that in the first round. Unfortunately, the Warriors have been able to adapt and counter it.
Yeah, Warriors' adaptation game so far has been absolutely amazing to see. Grumpy Grapes, you can't count them out though. Most of these rounds have been relatively close, 3v2s, 1v1s, etc., etc. So they're definitely putting a dent in the Warriors' sort of play style here. Unfortunately, hasn't really sort of turned into rounds for them, but we're going to see if they can change that this round just before the half, taking control of this front yard balcony now, as well as Solar again for Cass on that upside down rappel. Not too much presence over towards the master side of things. But Warriors, they're looking to just take their time. They're waiting things out. Grumpy Grapes ultimately at the end of the day have to come towards where they are playing, and that is what they're waiting for. Obviously, with the mute now in play for this attempt at the top floor bomb site, they're going to be able to protect those shields for a little bit longer, but clearing out that utility now. Serenity's going to start sending those Retiros through to try and do their job.
Oh, it got mute jam.
It jumped through the mute jammer, I think, and actually cleared it. Oh no, there's another one.
No. So it I'm confused. I don't know.
I think there was a jammer there on the...
No. So it looked like it was jammed, but also shot out, and then it still triggered the timer.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what happened. All we know is that Aratero drone is gone now.
It went boom either way.
No, it didn't. That's the thing.
Didn't it? I'm pretty sure it went boom. Either way, the shield is gone now. Vertiver takes down Sab. Also a little bit of a flank downstairs, possibly here from Yoshi coming up the library stairs, maybe catching Soy out if she's not careful. But no, she has an inkling. Something's going on, and she's there to collect the head. Very well set up, but a 4v4. Warriors lead in damage.
Things coming through. Soy not going to give up a position just yet. Of course, they want to keep library stairs for as long as possible. And again, time is definitely favouring the Warriors right now. They could look to steal this one out even further. In the process, Soy may have to give up her life, but the longer she can keep things going for the team, the harder things will get. And when that inevitable execute does come.
Serenity going down, will be revived relatively quickly, but this is the long game from Warriors. The flank now coming out from Time for Pie. I think this has been read into, however, it doesn't matter. We'll collect onto the first, looking for more Cass, pre-firing with the Zof LMG. Not going to find the flanker, unfortunately. Still going to be allowed to continue on round. Pie could go huge here, possibly even for the remainder of the team, all of which are starting to make their way towards the site, but Cass is there. Aussie finds one onto Grumpy Cheese, executing onto the site now, a 2v3. Very doable here for Grumpy Grapes. Soy finding one. A team kill from AJ. It's all up to Cass, spraying with the LMG. It's not enough. Warriors, they're going to find their fifth going into the next half.
I mean, confidence. That is all that is. Absolute faith and trust in your teammates to be able to do the job they need to. And they play the game. They play the objective. They don't force any silly fights. And, I mean, the Warriors, we said, you know, Grumpy Grapes forgot that first round. They've come with a game plan. They've come to play. Unfortunately for them, so have the Warriors. And there is a reason that this team is undefeated so far here in Season 6.
The Warriors have just been picking apart things here and there, doing little bits and bobs that have just either gained them time or found them a pick or even gained a lot of damage, not even necessarily just kills. I mean, most of the time going into those end rounds, we see Grumpy Grapes going in with like 50% HP on all players. One player was 100 health. The rest were all very heavily tagged, and Warriors were all 100 HP. I mean, even just the chip damage from Warriors, let alone the setup, the roam, everything else culminating into one, obviously is going to equal in rounds 1. 5-1. It obviously shows on the scoreboard for them right now. They're doing really well in the first half. Now going on to the attack side of things, where, as we've mentioned, Chalet is usually where you see that side shine. The attack is usually the favoured position to start on, as well as obviously get the most rounds on. So Warriors could look to close it out pretty quickly here. However, Grumpy Grapes now on the defense. Pretty interesting setup. Mozzie in play could look to put a dent in that round count, start clawing back some for themselves here, Panda.
Well, I mean, we know other leagues in the ANZC, one that the Warriors who play at OCL is a very defender-sided competition, so maybe, just maybe, the Warriors have channeled that a little bit here. Now they head over the attack. They've only got to win 2, so realistically, the odds heavily in their favour.
Very heavily indeed, but Warriors not messing around at all. Already in downstairs, the live drone coming forward here for AJ. Very good use of time here for the Warriors, just so quickly through the building, already getting the pings onto that first roamer in the position. Not largely known, but they know the whereabouts, sort of that roamer inside of the kitchen will be spotted out. Time for Pi is actually going to land the headshot there onto Yoshi, and very quickly Grumpy Grapes find themselves a lady down in the first 40 seconds.
Yoshi off the board early is going to be a bit rough. That Nitro could have been huge and trying to deny something coming into the later stages of the round, but 4 players still remaining. So, again, it's no reason to write them off immediately with Bernabear playing with the MX or Storm. Such a solid gun at the moment with that 1.5 times scope. I think Grumpy Grapes might still be able to do some work.
They still have so much utility left for Warriors to clear here. Time could honestly come into the idea of things if Warriors can't keep up the pace that we've seen them come in that first 40 seconds to find that opening kill. They have a lot of the utility, though, to make it happen. So many flashbangs on the boards, 9 in play all up with 4 grenades to come through. Here comes the burn, but Cass finds the headshot onto Sav. That's going to be a huge kill to find a lot of the burn and air jabs off the board. We'll be able to also redeploy the Wamai to burn the first nade, and this is good utility wasting here from Grumpy Grapes, with Bernabear now finding one onto Time for Pi as well.
It's the power of the MX4 Storm. Serenity going to be tagged up just a little bit, but these magnets, the ADSs, without the Flores in play, it's nigh impossible getting the shield taken out, and AJ looking to bank a little frag grenade off the top of the windowsill, clears out that frost mat, but this is a frag grenade that could have been used to clear out the player at top library.
Possibly a misuse for Warriors here. We'll spot out the frost now, and AJ may attempt to try and bend that frag round to take her out. All the same, she's already fallen back. Serenity gone. Soy finding another frag on the cast, but there's Serenity with 2 huge kills at the top of blue for Grumpy Grapes. Now AJ left in a 1v3. Serenity for her third takes down all of Warriors' hope.
Absolutely slammed there. Lines up for the 2, diffuser control established, and then closes out the round as well. And that's the power that Serenity possesses. She's been a staple of this league for the longest time, and the results do show there. A second round on the board for Grumpy Grapes. A little bit of a hurdle, let's be honest, closing out the first half, but now they're on the defense. A lot of teams do feel quite comfortable here, even though Chalet tends to be, again, attacker-sided. Grumpy Grapes could look to do some real damage.
Even down a couple of players there. They just showed how well defense can go with the right positions available and the utility that you're bringing, and capitalizing on issues that you may see from your teammates, from the team you're versing. Warriors not bringing the Flores while he's available on the board. Interesting choice, some will say, but the amount of burn utility and frag grenades that they bring sort of counteract that choice. So maybe they want, the 0/Nomad on the board, which we do see Sav bringing out here this round. Maybe they just don't want to bring the Flores along. All the same, Grumpy Grapes capitalizing really well, adapting similarly to how the Warriors were in their defensive rounds, and they will find their first, which is going to be a huge confidence boost for them and a mental boost going into the second half here, already winning their first round on defense.
That's exactly it. I mean, we've got Clubhouse next, and then Coastline as the decider should we go the full 3 maps. So I mean, we sort of get that frag-heavy style of play on Chalet. You don't have to go too, deep in terms of the strat. Yeah, you got to be a little bit strategic. Then you go Clubhouse, which, you go to strat map. And then you got Coastline, where you throw the strat book out the window and just go for the frag plate. So we are really getting an interesting array of, viewing experiences across the 3 maps.
Yeah, especially if you do get to see all 3. I'd be very excited to see how Coastline plays out between these 2 teams. But we're going to have to see if we can at least get it to 3 maps. So far, still on the first. Panda Grumpy Grapes here with the extension downstairs. A very quick entry from Warriors again. First 30 seconds, they're already at the top of West Main, starting to make their way towards the kitchen, and they know that there are players close by. 2 players this time instead of the 1 in the previous round. Yoshi takes a lot of damage on the initial sort of start here, but Serenity's there for 1. Time for Pi almost goes down, but Yoshi and Bernabear both now in a DBNO state will be finished off through the wall, but the swing from Serenity's there for the instant refrag. A 4v3 very quickly with Yoshi available to be revived. And no, unfortunately, he's going to get zapped by the zero can. So a 3v3, but Grumpy Grapes lead in terms of the health count now. So that's going to be a good start to them. Only a minute wasted.
Oh, AJ, of course she gets that through the wall. It has been the battle of the S's, Serenity, Sav, both fragging out of their minds at the moment. This battle of attrition, now down to Cass and Grumpy Cheese to hold off for the 2 versus 3. Should they lose out here? Obviously, we go to that map point for the Warriors. I mean, honestly, the way that they've been playing, I still could foresee Grumpy Grapes being able to hold on.
With only 3 flashbangs and 2 nades left, not a whole lot in terms of the utility left here, but this is almost... Yeah, there you go. It's going to be a frag. Grumpy Cheese will find one onto Aussie, but AJ with the nade onto Cass is going to be huge. A 1v2 now. Not completely impossible for Grumpy Cheese to pull off. The Roni in the right hands can be deadly, and let's just say Grumpy Cheese knows how to use it. But here comes the entry onto the site. Sav makes her way into the master bedroom, and actually will start putting the bomb down on the floor close on that closet wall. But this is going to be big. She can find the planter here. Not necessarily going to deny the diffuser going down, but now in a 1v1 has all of the time in the world to try and find AJ better than if she hadn't managed to get that opening pick.
Rotato Potato comes through. Unfortunately, she's already in through to Piano. So a distinct lack of information here for Grumpy. She's quickly running out of time. Pre-fire through the wall. Honestly, just how much easier would this have been with the old Roni into bathroom. Pistol out. She doesn't quite know where AJ could be, and as time dwindling, she's either going to have to go for this kill and stick it, but no, it's not even that. She's going to go and stick it. She's going to run in. She's got to hold it down, but AJ will know. She's going to hold it. No, unfortunately, it will be Warriors moving on to map point.
Very well done by AJ there. Unfortunately, unfortunately for the Aruni, just didn't check back towards Piano side. I don't think really expected the rotate there to come through the bathroom straight through to the Piano side of things. I think Grumpy Cheese was sort of expecting maybe the solar hold, which, fair enough. You got to take that in consideration. But very well done, very well played out by Warriors there with the rotate and getting that bomb down. Actually, unfortunately for Grumpy Cheese, couldn't quite make it happen. Got close though. Definitely put a big dent in the round. Unfortunately, couldn't make it happen. But now match point to Warriors on the attack. Grumpy Grapes can't make any more mistakes if they want to take it to OT.
Yeah, 4 rounds in a row is a pretty terrifying prospect for anyone, let alone in the opening map of the semi-finals for Season 6. Grumpy Grapes, they're going to try and double down with the defense on... Well, not necessarily double down. They're going to try and go downstairs, rather. That defensive kitchen and dining. And you said, a strong attack can absolutely pick apart this side. A strong defense can lock you out completely. Hopefully, Grumpy Grapes have packed that solid defense.
Something I really want to highlight here that I really like to see from Grumpy Grapes. Castle and Mute, both being paired together on this site, is huge in terms of the operator pairing that they could be bringing. They have the Mute for the drone denial, which Warriors seem to be very similarly to Grumpy Grapes relying on in those early parts of that round. But now paired with the Castle Barricades, Sledge is on the board for Warriors, so it is going to be a little bit easier. But all the same, in saying that, good operator pairing here for Grumpy Grapes, especially on the side that they are playing with the extension that they want to bring in. So Warriors are going to have their work cut out for them here to clear out this full roam.
Seb, 9 kills for her, the 4 deaths. So very, very close to the 2.0 KD. Very, very nearly there. With her and other teammates let her pick that up. That next kill up is up for a debate at the moment. Aussie Princess, 3 and 3, a little bit quiet, but that's what you'd expect from your support role, your hard breacher. Not going to be the one running in and gunning out. Despite the best efforts of the Grumpy Grapes, they find themselves at a significant disadvantage. Honestly, as much as I want to see them pull this one out, the Warriors are just so far ahead of them right now. And not for lack of trying, again, worth saying. But the Warriors, they knew exactly what they needed to do. They've done it every single step of the way, and they just haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, Warriors have been doing really well so far, and unfortunately for Grumpy Grapes, that obviously means that You've got to play just that little bit harder, and with Warriors in form right now, they're definitely looking like they want to try and do their best to finish things out here. But again, you can't count Grumpy Grapes out. They've been doing really well so far. A lot of damage dealt to Burner Bear here on the rotate. Almost caught out, but Cass is actually there to find the first onto Soy for the opening pick here. It's going to go in favour of Grumpy Grapes. Gone 6 being used to clear out that castle barricade upstairs, and possibly the replicator to come through. Cass for a second, but time for Pies there to finally finish off Burner Bear. But that is good time wasted for the Grumpy Grapes, drawing the attackers away for as long as they can. But now with the long angles opened up, Grumpy Grapes are either going to have to fall off or try and hold on to this top 4 for as long as they can.
AJ playing around that bathroom window, tucked in the corner. This frag grenade could do a lot of damage if it's banked off the right angle. Unfortunately, it isn't going to be. Could have taken out someone in the bathtub, but rarely do you see someone holding the bathtub.
Never count that strategy out. Viable strategy, I will vouch. But no one in the bathtub this time for Grumpy Grapes. Warriors, down in terms of the man count, will use the replicator possibly to try and bait out a swing here from the library side of things, albeit isn't going to come to fruition for AJ, who may just opt to try and take the straight up fight. Knows relatively the positioning of a couple of the players for Grumpy Grapes here, 3 of which still remaining on the top floor. Serenity starting to edge toward to take that peak, but isn't unfortunately going to spot the head out. Time for Pie's going to walk in as well. Cass deals a little bit of damage, but with only 20 seconds left, it's going to have to be a relatively quick round from Warriors here if they want to make it into the site, because they haven't really got themselves too much control. Serenity finding one onto Aussie as well. AJ's there to find one though, back onto Cass. A 3v2 Panic Grumpy Grapes. They need to hold on for 10 seconds. That's all they have to do. Running away, caught out Grumpy Cheese on the rotate. 6 seconds left. They've made it back into the site. Diffuser is down though, and Warriors, they're not going to make it happen.
What a trade,
by the way.
Oh, AJ is actually insane. Like,
Ouch.
I mean, the jump off Solarium Bannister, the trace. She very nearly killed Yoshi there in midair. Not Yoshi, sorry, Grumpy Cheese. In midair. And followed her through, finished the shots, and finished her off. And a hell of a trade. I mean, you and I both know that moment, that instant moment where you know you're about to die, you flick to the head, and sometimes you hit it. AJ nailed that flick.
One tap fade away. Doesn't really get any better than that. On the trade as well, can confirm. It is a feeling of ecstasy when you hit that shot. So definitely an amazing shot there. Time, unfortunately, was the issue for the Warriors. Diffuser down. They didn't have the control they needed of the top floor. And the bomb, as we know, wasn't planted in the end. There was that trade, but still one member remained for each side. So had Warriors cleared out that top floor just that little bit quicker, we could have seen that this map had been over. But Grumpy Grapes, really well done from them, holding on as long as they did. They had that roam game stay up there for as long as they did, and that ultimately proved to be a big dub for them in the end. The roamers obviously then dying, going back into the site, leaving it in a 1v1, but still Grumpy Grapes, they read that really well and played into the fault that Warriors made, which was not taking that vertical panda.
10 seconds left.
Well, we see the clash coming into play. Now, last night, we got to witness some very, very interesting clash play. I'm keen to see if Cheese can bring out the same level of play that we witnessed last night. It'd be a hard press, given that Chef Jeff, the old Bishop of Boomstick, is, a bit of a savant. That's his title. He's just a shotgun savant. Unfortunately, Cheese is playing the SPS MG9, so it's no Super Shorty in play for her. I'm still sure she's going to do some damage, but Super Shorty Clash is a bit of a unique beast.
It definitely is, especially when it's played in the way that Grumpy Grapes are bringing it out right now. Instead of the shield at the top of the library stairs, we see a mobile version, which is going to be Grumpy Cheese. But speaking of mobile, AJ on the roam, clear. We'll be able to take down Yoshi relatively quickly. I believe inside of Boiler that was downstairs. No, just on the hatch, actually, which is a nut shot to hit.
I feel sorry for Yoshi.
Yeah.
She's had some moments of brilliance of the season, but she's coming up against the first seed, the undefeated Warriors roster, and it's either been, I believe, Soy or AJ that has just run into her, and she's always been caught off guard and absolutely slammed because of the nature of how good the players are that are running into her. She's trying so hard. She's got 4 assists under the belt, and unfortunately, only of the 5 kills that she's been a part of, or oh, this could be big. They're priming themselves for this push. Again, they're making phenomenal time.
Yeah, Warriors have done really well getting the opening pick as well as now that office control opening up that wall, and it's all starting to come to light for them now, getting the drones to come on through, see whether or not that top blue stairs is clear. But the next issue for them now with switching out the Nomad for the Zero, no air jabs being bought, still have a lot of utility to try and clear this clash shield out, but they have a lot of crossfire set up. We'll spot out the Aruni. That's going to be big for Soy to find one left now in a 5v3. Grumpy Grapes still have all the time in the world and a pretty good amount of utility and operators up to clutch this round out.
Oh, Serenity taken down by AJ, but does find the kill on the Soy. 4 versus 2. I mean, the utility denial here is going to have to be absolutely huge. She's going to have to play the best siege of her life. Unfortunately, with Cass going down, it is now 1 versus 4. Come on, the 360 play? No. Unfortunately, Cheese doesn't quite back herself. And yeah, Serenity, come on, guys. This is just bullying.
Oh, Clash in a 1vx situation. Not the best of operators to bring to the party, unfortunately.
Well, it is.
It is and isn't.
So long as it is a party. That's the thing.
Well,
so long as she's got friends there with her, it's fine.
Yes.
But as soon as you find yourself isolated in a 1v1 as Clash, or 1v4 in that situation, the party's gone pretty sour.
Yeah, not the nicest of evenings, I will say, unfortunately. But still very well done by the Warriors. They lost that first round, but then managed to claw their way back up to find themselves a 7-3 victory on map number 1 here. Grumpy Grapes, you do have to give it to them, though. They definitely gave Warriors a run for their money.
I'm going to have to talk to the graphic design people. I don't know why Valkyrie is running a suppressor on the MPX in that last shot. I mean, the gun's already a pea shooter as it is. The suppressor on top isn't going to help. But yeah, you're not wrong. Grumpy Grapes, they did. They really put in their heart and soul on that match. Unfortunately, you know, that doesn't really matter when Warriors are on the board. They're playing their game. I have yet to see this season Warriors not being on fire.
Yeah, Warriors, they really are bringing their A game, obviously going into the finals playoffs sort of week, semi-finals playoffs, getting ready to go to the finals. They're going to be busting everything out to try and secure their spot in the first team to secure their spot for the finals, Panda. I mean, we saw it just then. They busted out all the strats, no stops, 5-1 on the half on defense on a traditionally attacker-sided map. There's so much left for the Warriors to show us, but we're going to have to wait until the next map to see that. Clubhouse is where we are off to for map number 2, but we're going to head to a short break and we will be back momentarily. Don't go anywhere. We will return.
See me with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first week of the semi-finals playoffs. So far, already seen Warriors put themselves up 1-0. Now we're looking to go on to the second. Panda, how are we looking going on to Clubhouse?
Look, Warriors, they're looking good. They're looking sharp, but I do have one question. Are you even a real Warriors fan? Can you tell me what their home stadium is? Nah, see, look, Proto, fake Warriors fan out here. Mount Smart Stadium, the home of the New Zealand Warriors. Maybe not the Women's League team. They're kind of spread over towards Australia, but we'll just take it as is. I mean, look, what can you say? Warriors played the game. They played it very, very well. And Grumpy Grapes, despite showing up and playing some very good siege, it just wasn't enough to compare to the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, the frag power that Warriors bring obviously is something that is quite scary to go up against for any team. There's a reason they're undefeated. They win their gunfights. They have the strategy, really good coaching. So Warriors are definitely a team that knows what they're doing. And on a frag-heavy map, definitely was in their favour going forward with that. But now, owing on, we'll look at that a little bit more in depth. Obviously, Chalet, a map that usually comes down to the frags, and we see it already there. Most of the rounds -3 were won on kills alone, Panda, with Warriors winning out 7-3 and some big numbers on the board.
Yeah, I mean, look, despite Serenity, honestly, the entire team, bar Yoshi, you had some big kills, and it wasn't for lack of trying. Yoshi, I probably one of the most unlucky showings I've seen in a while. Like, every time she was finding a gunfight, it was either against AJ or Sav, and in those situations, there are few people who can go toe-to-toe with AJ and Sav in those opening gunfights, so look, the odds were never in her favour, but you got the reset, you go over onto Clubhouse next, maybe she could start to pop off a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, you just look at the numbers across the board. The average kills per round were fairly high for the Warriors.
It was monumental effort from the Warriors. Still, you do have to, again, give it to Grumpy Grapes. Most of the rounds we saw from them really, really close. They got it down to 1vx's, 2vx's. And they were really putting a dent in the Warriors' attacks. They started picking them apart a little bit, but now Chalet in the past, Clubhouse is where we are off to now, ladies and gentlemen. More of a structured map in Siege competitive across multiple tournaments that we've seen it played in. The question now, Panda, is going to be whether or not Grumpy Grapes can take the so close amount of success that they had in those rounds and actually translate it now into a round and game wins on Clubhouse. Let's have a look where we're going.
Clubhouse, from France to the back roads of Germany. We're going to the seedy underbelly of the German biker gang Clubhouse. But I mean, yeah, back to strategy, back to the structure that a lot of teams do favour. You find only a handful of teams that do prefer that free-form style of the likes of Coastline and what was Consulate. You could be a bit freer in the fragging department, not have to worry about it, too deep in terms of the setup. You're not spending the full amount of prep time plus some of that early round and getting yourself set up. Whereas a Clubhouse, they're going to have done their dry runs. You'd hope they know their setups because even small mistakes here or there could cost rounds.
It's been highlighted a multitude of time. Maps like Clubhouse comes down to a series of mini games, hatches, top floor control, roam clearing, etc., with Thatcher off the board as well for this first ban to come out. It's definitely big for Grumpy Grapes to take that out of play starting on the defense, which is, I would say Clubhouse is more of a defender-friendly map than Chalet is, but here we are. Flores now finally be taken out by Warriors. This is where the strategy side of Clubhouse is going to start to shine through in the bans.
Flores, yeah, look. We saw how impactful it was last map, how much damage it could do. You don't want to have to worry about shields going down, ADS. The amount of utility that a Flores can clear out is just insane. Mira as well, we saw how big it was in that last map, mostly because of the Warriors being the ones to use it, but even still, the power that one of those Black Mirrors has, especially in its current state, especially on a map like Clubhouse in its current state, you'd rather get it off the board than even consider dealing with it.
Yeah, definitely to be the case, and obviously Grumpy Grapes following that up with a Cade ban as well. So those are the operators. They're going to be sitting this one out on the bench. We're going to be kicking things off. Round number 1 on Clubhouse. Panda Grumpy Grapes this time, starting things off on the defense, and it's going to be a bar stage right out the bat. Interestingly enough, not something I thought I'd be saying, to be honest with you.
I mean, what a way to undermine their confidence, do something less than predictable and try and catch them off guard. I mean, again, it's a game like Siege, where you can do these things, and we can both attest, we both cast those situations where one team has done something a little less than ordinary, and all of a sudden their opponents have no idea what's going on. They're reeling and trying to get themselves back in with a chance. This could be that step that's needed.
I mean, even with just the operators Grumpy Grapes pick, they could be playing huge mental games right now on the Warriors, because they could be thinking, hey, this is a, master bedroom hole, because these are operators you would usually see for master bedroom, especially with that 6-pick coming in from Yoshi onto the Oryx, which is going to be huge in terms of the movability throughout the bomb sites and the top, bottom, middle floor. Obviously, with those hatches open up right there in the middle of bar, that is a massive vantage point to hold downstairs on a roam, make the way through to the top floor very quickly. So for Grumpy Grapes, they've set themselves up really well here, a bit of an extension. Some would say somewhat of an SSG style hold with the both top and bottom floor integration here, depending on where Yoshi chooses to roam on the Oryx. But with that T5 1.5 in hand, as well as his skill set, Grumpy Grapes are going to have a very strong roam game, and Warriors may have a hard time clearing that out here with no Jackal in play.
Yeah, I mean, we could also see the other approach to the site, which is just smash it and get the plant down. the off-site players have no chance to even get back before that plant has gone down, and then it's all about the retake, which some teams thrive in, some teams really do struggle on. So we'll have to wait and see just how it goes. Xcairo is already being used. Time for Pi in, looking to get that vert control up and established. They want that security pushing into stock and even across, getting the hatch in con. I mean, this is great timing.
Warriors so quick out the gate, 40 seconds in, already have CC Garage and now Construction Control. Have the rotates obviously droned out now, and they're going to try and be clearing out these roamers. Burner Bear and Cass, the first line of defense here for Grumpy Grapes on the top floor, but all the vertical holes being employed by the ladies downstairs. Grumpy Grapes have some good avenues for nitros, maybe even some cheeky angles onto the Warriors players, but still a minute now wasted for Grumpy Grapes, and Warriors don't know what happened there to the Replicator, unfortunately, but Burner Bear's going to kick things off with the opener onto Time for Pi.
It almost looked it looked like there was a drone explosion. I don't know. I don't know. There's some interesting interactions that happen in this game. Right now, Time for Pi, the first to fall, was a big asset to the team in that last map. For Bar site, I don't think you've got a huge amount of utility that you're going to be relying on that Sophia for. Maybe the castle barricades, potentially a shield. And, Burner Bear says hello. 2 quick frags for GG. Sab answers back with 1 and a second. Ooh. That frag grenade could have spelled disaster for the Warriors, though.
Oh, Sav, bit of hot potato action there. Fortunately enough, got rid of it before it was too hot to handle, and 3v3 now for the Warriors. Sav, a little worse for wears in terms of the health side of things, but we see the Oryx making big rotations. This is huge. The Gon 6 now to come out to clear the castle barricade. Aussie there for the entry. Doesn't quite spot anybody out, but it's the long flank from the Oryx. Serenity takes a lot of damage. Sav going to get aggressive and push right on down the hallway. However, gives up the position to make her way back upstairs. And it's going to come down to an execute now for Warriors, looking like they want to make their way maybe towards the bathroom side of things. Oryx now cleared out by Sav with a lovely headshot. Aussie there to find Grumpy Cheese as well. Now Serenity left in a 1v2. Makes it a 1v2 very quickly, but AJ there to take her out. And Warriors, they honestly did really well.
Siege timing, the un-ADSing and getting caught like that, it's going to be a bit rough on the mental, but the way that Warriors were picked apart there by Grumpy Grapes and the start of that round was very, very commendable. Unfortunately, Cheese got pinched out in bathroom. Yoshi had to find herself up against the battle against Sav, who knew where she was coming from. From what I saw, it looked like there was a drone in position, scouted her out. So Sav knew the timing, knew everything, was aiming at the right spot. And as soon as the head appeared, Yoshi was taken out of the equation. Commendable start. They try Bart, they try it, and it does come very, very close. It really could have been a very different round if, say, the information hadn't been that the drones weren't in the right place, and maybe Burner had been able to get a couple more. Actually, I say a couple more. She already got 2 in that last round. She was doing big things. But unfortunately, again, it was just the way the Warriors executed, the way they pinched that stopped Grumpy Grapes from contesting it in a meaningful way.
100%. Couldn't have said it any better. I don't think if I tried, they had the number. read it very well. Grumpy Grapes with an awesome start. And they're going to switch up the site now. Bar Gaming, maybe not where they want to give another try just yet. It's instead going to be more of a standard upstairs hold master bedroom style. No castle on the board, though, substituting instead for the Aruni, which is interesting to say the least for Grumpy Grapes here, not bringing the castle to a site that usually you see predominantly castle board on, but still, you never know, could turn out to be the next meta. Warriors, though, making their way out the spawn again very quickly, already opening up the bottom of Garage. Z-Pings coming out very quickly here. I mean, the information game for Warriors is just on point in terms of how quickly they can actually get into the building.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a prime example of why those drones are so necessary. You don't want to just be throwing them into sight. So you have confirmation on it. You can make those educated decisions on where it could be. You want to set them up in positions where they are going to provide the most information, the most security, and I suppose potential. We're seeing Warriors do exactly that.
There's information, the Z-Pings on this Jaeger for the entirety of the time that Serenity has been running around. She has been on that yellow ping. Zofstun's now to come out, aiming it slightly too high though. Sav taken down by Serenity, but very quickly refragged by Time for Pi. So a 1-for-1 trade, but a Jaeger in terms of a Hibana is not necessarily the best form of trades in terms of, well, man count for Warriors. Sav also now droning out, starting to come support the drone at Time for Pi, but in 3v4, Grumpy Grapes going to have to either start falling back or find themselves a couple of picks here.
So very, very nearly an impressive nade. I mean, it was still a big chunk of damage onto Cass. Unfortunately, just a little bit to the right. It would have been a complete kill in itself. But now, though, Cass still alive, tucked in Cash up on top of the table, has the ADS, so could deny a lot there, as well as some support. It's rotating back in there. Time for Pi just gets a bit too keen in on the doorway, shut down back in a 3 versus 3.
Massive crossfire set up here for Grumpy Grapes. Yoshi's there, finds the head of Soy. That is huge. A 3v2 Maverick now to open up the main breach to try and salvage something for Warriors here. Aussie making short work of it with the blowtorch and will get that wall open relatively quickly. 50 seconds remain here for Warriors to try and do something with.
I mean, it's probably the latest I've seen Aussie as a Maverick get the wall open. That's saying something because they've been trying to pressure over from Con. AJ sends the Gemini through. They want that information on players, especially with 2 of them remaining. They're going to have to hit some insane shots to win this out.
It's going to have to come down to the fray. Nade to burn the Aruni gate here is going to be spotted on the bulletproof cam. The prone angle's there for Yoshi to find herself a double. The swing on round from Grumpy Cheese to finish things off. And Grumpy Grapes bar may not have worked out, but Jim definitely went in their favour.
Yeah, I mean, the adaptations, again, they're just changing slight things here in setups and catching players off guard, leading a little bit more into that aggression. I mean, the road, the extension over towards Cash CCTV and having, one sitting top of Red Stairs shutting down the Hibana, it just these little things kept getting in the way of Warriors picking up that round. And Yoshi as well, in particular, with the MX4 Storm and the Alibi, found 2 huge frags that round.
Yeah, monumental picks for Grumpy Grapes. You really do have to give it to them. The rounds are close, and they make it count when they need to make it count. And you saw it happen there. The roam game, the crossfires, everything falling into place for them, which ultimately it ends with a round victory for them, and that's going to be good. Defense, as we know, as we said at the start, tends to be the favourable side here for Clubhouse. So all of the rounds that Grumpy Grapes can put on the board now against the Warriors are going to benefit them going into the second half here, because Warriors are a team that they can do both ends of the stick. So can Grumpy Grapes. It's just going to be who can do it better tonight, because both of these teams, given that it is the semi-finals, they're here to play Panda, and neither one of them wants to go down to that 3rd, 4th playoff spot.
Yeah, you want to be in the money, of course. And look, no small amount of bragging rights to come along with the grand finals as well. CCTV Cash on the cards. We see Cheese picking up the Tachanka, which, I mean, it has been, as of late, interchangeable with that smoke. Still brings a shield, brings a great gun, can edit the sight, and the Shamika launcher is, I mean, maybe not quite as effective space-wise, but in terms of deniability, almost linear.
Yeah, 100%. And the LMG meta as well. 71 bullets is better than 30, even 20. 15 in the case of the Roni, so Chanka is a big pick here for Grumpy Grapes. All the same, Warriors, a pretty good lineup for them, something that will help them get the wall open relatively quickly with only Mutant played to deny with the Bandit as well. Might be a little bit harder with Thatcher off the board and Flores. But we're going to see, maybe they can get a nade in, maybe they're just going to straight Maverick trick it and open it right up. Seems like it's going to be the play here for Aussie, who's going to, again, make very short work of the wall here, sorry, but Tachanka trying to send some fire outside to deter the Maverick here. Warriors making good way, but there's the fire. This is big for Grumpy Grapes. Time being wasted and damage actually being dealt here. That's big, but Burner Bear is going to be the first to fall.
Magnificent little angle there from Cheese. That's absolutely huge. Even throws one through the drone hole. Unfortunately, not quite far enough. If it had bounced even a little bit, that would have been Aussie in a lot of trouble, given that she had just jumped on the drone. But, I mean, the amount of denial already... Aussie Princess on this Warriors team has been one of the best Maverick trickers in the competition. And to see her stalled out like this is only because Grumpy Grapes are playing this well.
Very aggressive on the wall breach, all the same. Time for Pie to take down Grumpy Cheese. So no more direct contestment from that Tachanka. No more fire coming through the wall, which is going to allow Aussie to open up that wall with relative ease here for Warriors and make their lives a little bit easier. Main breach now being opened up. Serenity and Cass left in a 1v5 through the wall, though. Serenity somehow surviving with a singular HP left. 2 nitros left for Grumpy Grapes to play with. They're going to have to go huge here.
Maybe at some point we do see that Thunderbird come in for the defense of the Grumpy Grapes. Spear through 8 in the Nitro cell. Cass in trouble. A Nitro toss here could do some damage, but no! By pixels, she misses the headshot onto Sav. And with it being down to Serenity and her down and Bart, Proto, this is looking like Warriors are going to go up and take the round lead.
Could even be the Flawless here unless Serenity has something to say about it. Still has a Nitro left in the pocket to play with, but with only 1 HP remaining, it's definitely not looking too promising, but will find the headshot on time for Pi. Takes down the Zofia. However, players collapsing in around her. The pillar saving the life of AJ. Warriors are going to do it again.
Time for Pi. A little bit slammed there, but
just a little bit.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really count for much. It's a consolation frag just for the numbers at the end of the round. Warriors, I mean, really, again, it's just their ability to read into a given situation and make those changes on the fly. And unfortunately, it's in the game of chess that tends to be Clubhouse. Warriors seem to be a move or two ahead at every single opportunity.
100%. It's definitely the case here. Grumpy Grapes, yet again, that round maybe not as close as the previous we'd seen, but Warriors really making it count when they need to here. It is going to be another attempt at the exact same site for Grumpy Grapes. I don't want to give that up, given that it is one of the main sort of, I would say 1 or 2 sites that teams usually tend to go to in the first opening rounds of Clubhouse. So it's good to see that they want to give it another attempt here. Grumpy Cheese making the life of Aussie just a little bit harder with those holes on the main wall there. All the same, completely bypassing it and just mavericking the middle. You can't really argue with that. Aussie, very well done. All the same. Exactly the same lineup pretty much for both teams here. Grumpy Grapes settling into the swing of things. They have that confidence from those very close rounds on map 1. And honestly, they've kept it relatively straightforward and close, aside from the previous round on Clubhouse so far. So it is still early days, Panda. Warriors still have a lot of damage that they can do, but Grumpy Grapes are still ready to dish some of their own out as well.
Big noticeable difference in this round. Yoshi picking up the smoke rather than the castle, so they're doubling down on that denial. The Shamika paired with the Toxic Babes could be a very potent combo. And we saw just how much damage Aussie took in that last round. If they can pair it with a Toxic Canister as well, Aussie may not get that wall open.
That would actually be a big dub for Grumpy Grapes if they can get all of that damage dealt and even maybe take down Aussie with that denial utility. But getting into the bottom of Garage here for Warriors seems to be a big focus for them. Habana pellets going off there to get them into the bottom side to try and clear out that Rafters player. Burner Bear throwing out those magnets to try and keep herself alive for as long as she can. No Jaeger on the board, which, you know, not the end of the world. Obviously, Wamai is going to be huge here. It's the first implication of those toxic canisters, which unfortunately don't necessarily propagate through the wall anymore, so not dealing as much damage as they could. But speaking of damage, Soy to take down Cass early on. Now, Nitro lost, and ultimately no more bandit tricking.
CCTV window has, this round and the last, been a real problem for the defense of the Grumpy Grapes. Another frag grenade through. AJ trying to play some of that vert, and we see the wall resume as Aussie looking to take it out, but the Shamika grenade, Burner Bear falls. Aussie forced off for now. They lose the Wamai. They've lost the bandit. They are going to be able to deny it for a little bit longer, but just how long will it be? Yoshi in trouble, getting swung on an AJ. With the ARX, is just a demon.
Definitely demon hours, but the M590 from range. Serenity takes down AJ. They still have a Nitro in play and 7 Shumikers left from Cheese. There's still enough denial on the board here for Grumpy Grapes to make this round their own. Here comes the first of many, but taken down. A triple for Soy. Could be a quad, and indeed it will. Warriors, they're going to secure themselves another round. CC Cash in their favor once again.
I mean, if I remember correctly, I believe Soy is a nurse. So as a medical professional, she will know where to aim to inflict the most damage. Yeah. And it makes sense that she's going to be picking up multi-frags like that in the round. 3 rounds for the Warriors, up by 2 now. Grumpy Grapes decide that they've had enough of this upstairs play at all. Down to the basement, down to Church Arsenal. And from here on out, things could start to get a little bit tight.
Yeah, with the Valkyrie now being introduced as well here for the defense and 2 Nitros in play. Could be an emphasis on some explosive plays here from Grumpy Grapes. Obviously, there was a tease of a 6-pick, but Smoke is going to prevail in the end. Probably the right choice for Grumpy Grapes there, having that remodeling ability, because I do believe, Grumpy Cheese bringing the MP5. So the shotgun in the hands of Serenity is something we've already seen to be quite deadly. So all the same, relatively good picks across the board. But downstairs is something that most teams like to just bunker on. It is sort of a safety pick when you need that round on the board, and Grumpy Grapes starting to reach into the pocket strats for it because Warriors are starting to run away with things.
Yeah, they are. I mean, look, we did kind of expect that this was a possibility. The Warriors are undefeated in the round robin. They're going to be looking to keep that going, that record for themselves going to the playoffs. And, I mean, 4 more rounds, they are going to keep that record alive going to the grand finals of the competition, which is really saying something. But, I mean, Grumpy Grapes still a valiant effort so far to try and push them to the absolute brink.
Yeah, they really have been taking it to Warriors. We do have to continue highlighting that because so far it has been a monumental showing from both teams. But Warriors already again starting things off big. Soy to find Burner Bear on the entry top of the main stairs. Going to get a second as well onto Yoshi. That's one of your Nitros gone really early on, 40 seconds in. Already 2 picks for the Warriors. And the roam game for Grumpy Grapes unfortunately didn't go the best of ways.
Soy is just looking to stack up some numbers here. Quick little Logi drop with the hammer. Respectable play. Unfortunately, no one there to take out of the equation. But already we see that work coming in. They want to clear out the cams. They want to get bar control. They want to be able to enable Aussie to open up the hatches as well without Kate on the board. Sav can even get involved in the party. Vert through that kitchen hallway as well. Going to be critical if they want to execute on the site.
Plenty of time left to do it as well, Pan. 1 minute and 40 seconds on the board for the attackers to play with here. Still have to worry about that 1 Nitro in play from Cheese, which could come back to be a bit of an issue in the later part of this round, but only 1 minute 30 left for the Warriors to work with, and Grumpy Grapes plenty of time to try and defend. They still have Smoke alive inside of Dirt. They still have blue control. Cass as well, still playing around, throwing the magnets out. So Grumpy Grapes are set up well here for the cross to try and cover any plant attempt that the Warriors are going to bust out here in the next minute.
Just over a minute in time for Pi and AJ, both pushing through blue. Cass could find herself in a lot of trouble, and AJ, if she finds that rotate and finds a kill off the back of it, that could be a huge spray through towards that church wall position. Serenity, they're in a bit of trouble in dirt. They've got so many angles to now worry about. Very well and truly outnumbered. Toxic Canister is going to stop the push to that blue door, but with the final 40 seconds upon us, Proto, this is, again, looking like it's too close to call for the Grumpy Grapes.
With AJ finding that nade as well, that's going to be a good start. Serenity now going down as well. Only 30 seconds left. And Cass, the only remaining player for Grumpy Grapes, will find AJ. Sav there to confirm onto Serenity. But with the bomb now going down, she retakes into blue. Aims to try and find the diffuser with the whole wall open. She could have actually killed Aussie there, but unfortunately doesn't spot the head of the Maverick in time for Pi. Sophia LMG in hand finishes off the round for Warriors and puts another one on the board.
A big lead for the Warriors. Again, we could be seeing back-to-back 5-1 halves here, Proto.
Good be.
The Warriors heading over to the defense. You got the scale definitely leaning in their favor once that half transition does come. Gym bedroom back in play, which is where the Grumpy Grapes have had the most success. I mean, is it that surprising that we haven't seen them go a bit sooner?
I mean, yes and no. It is a site that proved to be quite fruitful for them, obviously. Warriors, however, they're picking up the pace. They're changing the style of the play. They're getting in really quickly. They're taking a lot of control. Or they're just finding, massive kills off the start. I mean, 2 kills that round within the first 40 seconds. Definitely not what you want to see if you're a Grumpy Grapes player or fan, for that matter. But they're doing it still. Warriors are making the best of the situation they're dealt with. They're capitalizing on the rotates and Grumpy Grapes. They're going to have to, go back to the site that has already proven to be something that they can take away in terms of dubs here, because a 4-2 half is going to be the best scenario for them now, unless, as you said, they want to go a 5-1 back-to-back, which, let's be honest, probably not.
10 seconds to insertion.
Yeah. I mean, again, despite the strategy, despite the best efforts, Grumpy Grapes are finding themselves overwhelmed and out-fragged. I mean, just look at the numbers across the board. Soy 7-2 right now. Sev 5-2, 5-3, 4-3. The numbers are just leaning in, and it just speaks to the capabilities and fragging prowess that the Warriors possess. And Grumpy, was that interesting? I think that may have been through the con window there.
Maybe? No?
Either team damage from the Keratos from Cass, or it was a shot through that con window.
Yeah, maybe even the con single wall on the pre-fire. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it may have been the Keratos. Either way, Grumpy Cheese looking a little bit worse for wear here in the process of things. Not the best start for Grumpy Grapes, all the same. You can still get a 1v5 with 1 HP, so definitely doable for Cheese here. But with Aussie making very quick work of the wall here with the torch in hand, something we've seen her do consistently at such a high level here. It's going to be huge for the Warriors. Already opened up in the first minute. They got the main breach control. Gone 6 opening up the castle onto, I believe, the gym window, but Soy's going to kick things off with a frag of her own onto Serenity.
Soy, now 8-2, is just, hitting some insane shots. Sav as well, the aggression into Logi. We're about to close this one out, I think, in that 5-1 position, despite the Vulcan shields, despite the utility in play. The gun skill is superior. Burner Bed down, finished off by the secondary. Soy still holding that gym window, spots the player rotating through. Logi for 3 quick kills! Grumpy Grapes brought it back to the 2 versus 2.
Cass and Yoshi, that's huge. AJ takes down Yoshi, though, but AJ now falls to Cass. It's a 1v1. Soy left in the clutch. Sledge, the only player remaining now for Warriors. Magnet left to cover the nade here. Soy still has a lot of utility to play with, a drone in her pocket as well as 2 nades. Could be big, but Cass is going for the rotate. She's got the Z pings out. The information's on the board right now for Grumpy Grapes. This could be big, coming in for the flank. Sledge has an inkling, but Cass in the 1v2. Grumpy Grapes, they're going to find that second round, and Warriors so close. But Grumpy Grapes, they were ready.
Cass, or as she's better known amongst friends, Cass Money, with some massive kills in the round to give them the 4-2 half. And look, it could be rough, trying to contest going to the second half on the attack. But, I mean, 4-2, yeah, take that any day.
Any day of the week. Could not argue anymore. Definitely a good start here for Grumpy Grapes coming into the second half. Getting that round win, mental improves, confidence goes up, and then maybe even some rounds come from it. Thunderbird in play here for Warriors. We talked about it in one of the previous rounds. Now it's being bought by the Warriors. It's almost as if they're in the call with us, but all the same. 4-2 now for the Warriors going on to the defense side of things. They're going to be kicking it off with a cash defense. This is more what I expected for the first round from Grumpy Grapes. Albeit Bar Stage was fun to watch, but Warriors keeping it relatively vanilla with a cash CC.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you can't just go back-to-back gym bedroom. You got to switch things up. CCTV, and especially going to the half. Starting off on CCTV. I mean, look, New Zealand Warriors, they bring in the Thunderbird. They've got the Valkyrie in play. There's a lot of tools that are going to favour them going into the later stages of the round.
And the Castle Mute combo as well. I talked about it on Chalet. It's a really good mixture of the two operators for the defense side of things. Warriors making use of the recent Castle buff. Well, I don't even think you can really call it recent anymore. There's been a patch since, but all the same. Newcastle, we'll call him. But still, Warriors relatively well set up here for the start of this onslaught. Grumpy Grapes. Maverick on the board, going to be looking to make short work of the wall. No Tachanka, no smoke for Warriors, so no chip damage on that main breach, unfortunately. All the same, starting to make short work of things. Hatches being opened, the walls as well, but Sav is there to take down Serenity with a Nitro cell, and that's going to be your Nomad gone very early.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate with AJ. Look at the positioning she's in. Looking for a run-out Nitro throw. It's too deep on the platform, unfortunately. The positioning for Yoshi going to keep her alive. So AJ, I mean, valiant attempt. But, unfortunately, Valkyrie with the little arms and, you know, only being about 5'4", isn't going to be able to throw it quite far enough.
It's a real shame. Soy spots the leg of Yoshi there, does a bit of damage. Burner Bear similarly takes Sav down, so a very late refrag, all the same, a refrag to come out. Yoshi, very brave, does get the wall open, but dies in the process. You do have to give it to her. Yoshi did get the job done, unfortunately for her. Going down in the process, Soy is going to find that kill, putting her on one away from the double digits, but Warriors now find themselves in a 4v3 on the defense. This is definitely very doable for them.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest hurdle, that CCTV wall, it's been opened. So being able to make something happen off of that, I mean, they can't get into garage quite as comfortably as they want. They can't contest from below the rafters, but at least having that one opening and potentially CCTV window to play off of. And Kaz from long range out on the CCTV platform. With Soy down, we're on even turf.
That is a good pick to find. Garage now forfeited, clearing out the bulletproof camera as well. Grumpy Grapes starting to claw back the ground that they need to execute onto the site in this remaining 45 seconds. Panda 3v3. One Nitro left for Warriors to play with, and the Valkyrie cameras are in the hands of the defense, still available to be used. So denial could be the aim of the game here for Warriors, depending on where Time for Pie is positioned. But the beeper giving away Habana's position. Grumpy Cheese can't quite make it into the bottom of the garage, but there's the Z-Pings coming out. Aussie's going to be there waiting to pick up that kill, and I think they've actually chosen to give it up. But there, Burner Bear takes down Time for Pie. 15 seconds left. Grumpy Grapes find themselves in the player advantage. Cheese going down, though, makes things a little bit harder. The vault in from Suicide. AJ's there to collect. Cass finds one onto AJ, a 1v1. Has to get the diffuser or go for the frag here, but it's downstairs. It's been left towards the bar. Mouse one to try and find a head, but unfortunately, they can't make it happen. Warriors are going to find their first round on defense.
Heartbreak, because the round was so good for the Grumpy Grapes on the attack. Just unfortunate positioning there on the diffuser carrier, losing it down in the main lobby. I mean, it all but sealed their fate.
Yeah, not the greatest place to leave the diffuser, unfortunately, there for Grumpy Grapes. Other than that, a huge round from them. They did really well on that entry. They got the wall open relatively quickly. They found the picks they needed to make them count. But when it came down to it, diffuser not in the right hands, and Warriors are going to capitalize on that, getting it down. I mean, very well done by them. And now finding the first round on the defense. They're going to be going straight downstairs to Church and Arsenal. That's enough of top floor for the moment for them. Grumpy Grapes. Unfortunately, the lead is now a little bit further away.
Down at the basement, the Warriors again find themselves within 2 of closing things out. No Cade in play, no worries. They don't bring any sort of denial. It's not really a site that requires a huge amount of denial. If anywhere, it's probably going to be on that church wall. But, I mean, the Warriors, I would imagine, they're going to be going upstairs, playing a little bit more aggressively, trying to take the fight to the Grumpy Grapes. We've seen how effective that can be for them.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, aggression seems to be the Warriors' best friends, both on roam clear and on roaming. So, you know, if they can make that happen again here, we could see them put us on match point very quickly. AJ spotted out in the spawn peak, though. He's going to have to give it up. We'll get rid of the drone, so that is information taken away. Actually, maybe going to return to the spawn peak attempt here. Unfortunately, no one's spawning on the west side of things, so not going to be fruitful, unfortunately. The wall of main stairs being opened up to try and catch her on the cross here, but all the same, she's managed to get away with her life. 30 seconds wasted.
And that, I mean, that's 30 seconds that could cost them going into that execute. Then AJ still playing where she is. I mean, oil pit pinch, rafters play. If there's no drone up here, if they don't know she's there, she's going to shut down this push entirely.
Drone off to the right there, has to have spotted the Valkyrie. Too focused on trying to shoot it. Serenity there to thread the needle. Takes down AJ, sets up the flank. Grumpy Grapes find themselves the first pick here. That is monumental. Taking on downstairs, as well as a Nitro being removed from the board. Warriors setting themselves up here relatively good off the back of this roam clear. Sorry, Grumpy Grapes, not Warriors.
I mean, look, can I just touch on how ironic it is that someone named Serenity is a comp player in Siege, which is probably the least serene thing I could possibly imagine. I mean, I'm not flaming the name. I just appreciate the irony of the situation. A game where it's just chaos from start to finish. And I mean, look, I suppose any opportunity to find some peace in the mayhem that is Rainbow Six Siege, you're going to be looking for.
Hey, maybe the name is a reflect on her mental. Serene mental. Gets the job done. Finding opening picks, you know, all that cool stuff. All the same, though, on the Nomad has a pretty important job to do. Going to start trying to burn dirt out and clear Aussie's position. All the nades and Zofia utility coming through. There's a second one to follow. The shield now cleared out by the nade. There we go. Had to just wait for that one. Aussie getting pushed. The first Toxic Blade to come out, but it doesn't matter. Yoshi wants the fight. Takes her out. This could be an entry right onto the site with only 40 seconds left, Panda. This could be the execute.
Yoshi, after that last map, is choosing violence here. Wants to get some numbers on the board. They're setting themselves, so the execute, the positioning is phenomenal. Sawyer's going to have to hit a ripper of a headshot, but she's got too many angles to worry about the vert now. It's all coming apart, and Warriors find themselves with the back against the wall.
2 players down as well. That's not the best. Air jab there. Cast to capitalize. Time for Pi goes down. A 5 versus 2 here for Warriors to try and make the best of. Will not find the first, unfortunately, on Yoshi on the entry. Takes down Soy there. Sav will be there to find Burner Bear. Low HP left. The bomb now going down. Got some red pings there to work with, but Yoshi finds the final kill on the entry. 3 for her in the round, and Grumpy Grapes looking pretty hot.
Yeah, look, Yoshi's angry. I think that first match she got upset because she kept getting caught out and couldn't take even gunfights. Now it's her turn. She's the one with the hand on the steering wheel and is driving the... I don't even know what a lever, I suppose, for the freight train, because she is just unstoppable right now.
You do have to sort of give it to her there. Some well-placed aggression from Yoshi in that round bags her 3, and ultimately the round on the board for Grumpy Grapes, putting them slightly
closer. Can we just say,
closer.
MVP for that round was the bomb chassis?
Yeah.
I mean, Yoshi played the bomb chassis so well. I think she got hit, twice?
Yeah, twice, I think, overall. Ended up on about 40-ish, 50-ish HP, so... And I think most of that was dealt by smoke anyway, so, you know. Tit for tat, Yoshi very well done. The Warriors are going to give downstairs another go, Panda.
I mean, I can understand the reattempt. They hopefully will have, identified what went wrong there, and I think it's quite easy to understand what went wrong. Yeah, there, Yoshi pushed in, took control of Dirt, played off of the mistiming there from Aussie Princess, and just blew the defense wide open. Not to mention that air jab that Cass is able to capitalize on bottom main. So hopefully now with that, the cap cannon play is an interesting one. I'm always down for it. The entry denial devices could do some real damage.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Especially if not read into by Grumpy Grapes. 40 health is a lot to lose opening in a round, but now with the fact that you can stack Capcan traps, there could be 5 on one door here. You never know where AJ's put all of them, so Grumpy Grapes could definitely find themselves losing a little bit more than just some HP all the same. Very quick entry from them again into the garage side of things. Burner Bear actually the first to fall outside blue, though. Time for Pi finding that opening kill. And the sledge going down early on. 2 nades and all the soft destruction for Grumpy Grapes. That is not a player you want to be losing that early.
Not at all. A lot of that priority now falls to Cass with the 2 breaching rounds that she does have. Breaching charges, sorry. Which means she puts herself in a far more dangerous spot. Luckily, no Valkyrie in play, no Pulse in play, so she's going to have just that little bit of, time to get out. They won't have the direct feed of information. But for now, she's up in con, looking to clear across, wants to be able to get down and confirm that there's no one threatening up on the second floor before they start the vert game above the bomb site itself.
Ooh, the face off here. Serenity, if you don't check your corners note, Sav actually gives it up relatively easily. So we'll disappear back to the site. However, lurking at the bottom of Oil Pit, I do believe we just saw there on the observer view. Time for Pi, seeing if she can catch anybody out on the drop down from the stairs here. This could be huge. Playing through the Great Will, spot the head of one, but can't quite thread that needle. Unfortunately, Cass finds one onto AJ entering into the site. Similarly, Serenity takes down Time for Pi finally, and very quickly a 3 versus 4. Well, 4.5 maybe. Cass on very low HP. Grumpy Grapes still have the man advantage though.
Serenity, it's a frame of mind and it bags her a kill. 4 versus 3 with just over a minute to play. The Toxic Canisters are there and they can still look to make something happen off the back. But last time we were here, Aussie got caught throwing the Toxic Babe and then was just swung on by Yoshi. But there's utility there now to deny. Another Toxic Canister, frag grenade deep. Oh, that could have been huge. Toxic Canister will be confirmed. But right now, with that final 45 coming into effect, they could find themselves gunned and outnumbered.
The kitchen hatch still actually yet to be opened here for Grumpy Grapes. Not what you want going into the dying 30 seconds of this round. Smoke grenades from Aussie, though, are going to be pivotal in denying Cass walking through dirt. Serenity takes a lot of damage as well, trying to clear the cap cans off these doors, making sure they don't lose all their HP. To a trap, essentially, going into the site. All of the players, half of the players for Grumpy Grapes all low. It's going to have to be a hatch drop here. Warriors have the utility to try and deny. No nitros, but impacts in play could end a matter of any of the players. All 3 stacked up inside of D-Box. The smoke comes out, so he's there for 2. Grumpy Cheese trying to get the bomb down, but Aussie finishes things off, and Warriors, they put themselves on match and series point.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was that 30 seconds that, hitting that 30-second mark, not having the hatch open, not having the health they needed to in that situation. Honestly, if there was a thinker in play, it would have been a vastly different round. If they'd maybe taken some more aggression towards the dirt tunnel, it could have been a vastly different round. But the Warriors, they hold fast, even in the deficit, and they pull back. They get the win, and they are 1 round away from booking that grand final spot.
And keeping up with their lossless streak, they will be 8-0, I believe, Panda, if they win this game. So it's definitely looking good for them coming into the closing moments of Clubhouse, possibly closing moments of Clubhouse. Obviously, Grumpy Grapes, so close. They find themselves in these advantages player-wise. They find themselves in the advantages positional-wise. But Warriors, unfortunately, they just have the number. They either have the utility or they have a single position that just locks down so many entrances. And they make do in the situation that they find themselves in, and Grumpy Grapes just can't seem to crack the play style from the Warriors. They're very fluent. They move around a lot. They change things up, and it has been really fruitful for them so far. CC again for them, though. Obviously now with the 3 rounds rotation, they can go back up to CC Cash, which we actually saw Grumpy Grapes almost take. So in theory, this could actually be a Grumpy Grapes round if maybe they don't leave the diffuser downstairs this time.
Yeah. Positioning is key for a diffuser carrier. Right now, what is more key is just getting rounds 3 they need to take without making a mistake, which is pretty brutal at the best of times. AJ Tiger is going to be a real powerhouse here, a real tour de force if she can find this Nitro as well. Serenity's there, tossed. No, not tossed. Looked like it was tossed. I got debated by Nuttery on the cams. Blame him.
Blame OBS on that one. We'll have the replicator come through to spot out the Valkyrie, who repositions to try and get the better of the Yana nade to follow. Yoshi takes a lot of damage from a Nitro, I believe, on the main wall there, trying to kill the Maverick. Unfortunately, doesn't quite do enough damage to Yoshi, so she will be relatively healthy for the remainder of this round, albeit AJ setting up for the jump out, possibly here out of blue, maybe even waiting for the Nitro attempt again. We'll have it prepped, drone to come through. Warriors setting themselves up good here, getting some early damage. Fadeaway Nitro maybe. Serenity swings on round. Soy will find one onto Yoshi, but the Nitro shot out. The nade to follow. Unfortunate for AJ.
Oh, I'm just a little overcooked there, and the swing not going to find much of anything. And unfortunately, AJ decides to swing again. No gone 6 kill there for Serenity. There's a secondary pistol for her. With AJ off the board, it is now 1 down either side. Nuttery, did we get that CCTV wall open or not? That's the big question.
I do believe no, we haven't quite got it open yet. Maybe a couple of bits, unfortunately not.
They got the mute jammer.
They got most of it. They got the jammer, so Habana's going to be able to go to work there, and Cheese will be able to finish off all of the wall. Actually, there you go. Explodes in a fiery ball, but Grumpy Grapes now with the breach opened up before V4. It's definitely something that they can make do with.
So it was literally like the last little bit
Yeah.
that she missed out on when the Nitro came. But, I mean, commendations to Yoshi there for getting as much of the wall done as she did. Otherwise, Warriors could have put Grumpy Grapes in a far worse position. But AJ off the board, Nitro for the denial, was shot at anyway. So, again, not the biggest loss. If Grumpy Grapes do take the site very, very cleanly, it'll come down to time for Pi to have to try and play from below.
Could definitely be the case. Cass is waiting to collect. Soy finds 2 with Burner Bear now falling as well. A triple for her. Cheese takes a little bit of damage, completely blinding herself in the process though. Soy is going to be largely all right. Could go for the vault over here. Aussie takes a little bit of damage, but there you go. Sav from deep down in the lower side of stairs will take Cheese out, and it now leaves Cass in a 1v4 with only 15 seconds left. No diffuser in hand, so she's going to have to find all 4 of these remaining kills. She's not even going to get one. Warriors, ladies and gentlemen, they remain undefeated, and they're going to be booking themselves a spot in the grand final.
Not the first time that this group of ladies has been there. Quacked, another grand finalist team. So that this, look, they I believe they also had the flawless run up until the grand finals at that stage, eventually losing out to, I want to say it was Elevate. I could be wrong. I think it was two seasons ago, if I remember correctly. But I mean, this time around, there's no Elevate. They don't have to worry about that. This is definitely gearing up to be a hell of a grand final.
Yeah, it's definitely looking to be quite a scary set of teams going to fight for that top place spot. Obviously, first is the aim of the game here for Warriors, and an undefeated run. They're still 8-0. They haven't dropped a game just yet, Panda, so largely untarnished in terms of the round count going into the final side of things. So still big prospects. We could see another undefeated season coming out from a team in the Women's League, but still, performance-wise tonight, huge game from Warriors. 7 threes back-to-back. You really can't fault them in terms of the round loss because they only lost 6 all up, Panda. So, I mean, Grumpy Grapes still fought very valiantly, though.
I mean, yeah, look, you're not wrong at all. Grumpy Grapes, despite the best efforts, just it wasn't enough to go toe-to-toe with the Warriors. And, I mean, an undefeated team is undefeated for a reason in that round-robin competition. But, I mean, the big question now becomes, obviously, going to the grand final, whoever they end up versing of the other semi-final, whether that's, Overt coming through or Forsaken Boba, is where the hell do you take the Warriors? because they've shown they can play so many different maps this season. I mean, they get taken to Chalet, didn't matter. They pick Clubhouse, of course they're going to thrive there. It's their map pick. I do reckon Coastline could have been an interesting one if we saw it just purely come down to gunplay rather than strat setups and all the rest of it. And I still reckon it would have gone the Warriors' way, but I think maybe it could have been a little bit closer for the Grumpy Grapes.
Yeah, Grumpy Grapes, at the start of Chalet, a very frag-heavy map, they did a lot of damage. Round number 1, absolutely, very close to being flawless for Grumpy Grapes. Found a few more here and there. Unfortunately, Warriors, they picked their pace up. They got the more kills on the board, ultimately the game. But maybe given that Chalet was a second map, maybe Clubhouse first, Chalet second, I definitely think we maybe could have seen a completely different scoreline than we saw here tonight, Panda. Because the first game on's always the roughest going into map number 2. And then going on to Warriors map pick, as you said, they thrive on it. Maybe, unfortunately, didn't work out in the way of Grumpy Grapes, but I think you are 100% right. Coastline could be an interesting map to take Warriors to. Maybe the team that goes into the grand final will take them to Coastline, but right now, their map pool is quite extensive, and they do perform well. They haven't dropped a map, so there's nothing else to read into it but that.
We are going to be having an interview, of course. We'll be getting in a couple of the players from the Warriors to have a chat and see how that semi-final went for them, and I believe maybe even a quick chat with the Grumpy Grapes as well. If I go back and check my notes. Yeah, so we are going to be having a chat with the Grumpy Grapes first. From the looks of things, it'll be Yoshi and Burnaby to come have a chat with us. But, look, again, first playoffs that we've seen from the Grumpy Grapes, at least the time that I've been casting the Women's League full-time. And they repped themselves very, very well. Very impressive.
Yeah, they have shown up to the plate immensely tonight. We're going to cut to a small break, though, while we get the interviewees in before we can have a word with them. So we'll be back very, very shortly. Don't go anywhere, and we will have a word with them very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the interviews. We've got Grumpy Grapes in here with us to start things off. Burnabear and Yoshi joining us on the mics. I mean, what a monumental night, Panda.
Yeah, look, congratulations, ladies. You cracked playoffs. Unfortunately, you had to verse the Warriors, and that was always going to be a bit brutal, but you still had that chance making top three. How has the season gone for you girls? How has it been for the Grumpy Grapes?
You go, Josh.
I was going to say, I feel like we got further than we actually expected. So I'm really proud of how everyone's played. Yeah, and how far we've gotten. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough start to the season. Like we drew short straw as far as our first few games, but like the team really put in the effort, particularly early on, like putting so many scrims, so many practices in, and we had a great team supporting us and coaches and the like. So, we really wanted to bring it back and we put in a lot of work to try and get this far. So that we're all pretty happy to get to finals. So I think that was our big achievement. And now we're just unfortunately, we sort of didn't go as well tonight as we wanted, but we're just trying to get as far as possible. That's now our new goal.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the work that we've seen you guys put in, obviously finishing in a top 4 spot this season has been huge in itself. Obviously, we were talking about it. It's one of your first playoffs appearances as a team, which is huge. I mean, just in terms of that. Going now down into the third force playoff, obviously still the top 4 side of the teams. How are you feeling going into that matchup, depending on the team you verse?
Honestly, I think we're all kind of pumped. Excited, nervous, like a whole mixture of sort of feelings. But I don't know. Difficult question.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the other semi-final game goes. Like we'll be watching that pretty eagerly to see how both of those teams go, because it could, either one of those teams could make it through, and so we could be facing off against either of those teams. So it's sort of hard for us to prepare at this stage without knowing which one we could be going up against. Us making it to finals is pretty close. Like there was a few teams all around that same sort of point level. So we know we're fairly close to at least overt on the scoreboard. So we reckon we're around that same level. And then if it's Boba, we just we take it to them.
I mean, look, we have seen, not necessarily you guys as this 5 woman iteration, sorry, but I mean, individually, all of you guys have been stepping up and improving throughout the year. Going into 2020, I mean, what does that landscape look like for the Grumpy Grapes? Can we expect you as a team to be staying together? Are we maybe seeing some roster swaps? Or, I mean, are we looking at maybe a few more finals appearances next year, do you reckon?
I hope so. At this point in time, we haven't really talked much about season. It's more, we're in the finals. Let's just focus on that at the moment. But yeah, nothing discussed yet.
I don't really want to start 2020 again, Blue. 2022 will be all right.
Look, I've already cast it twice this week. I've got 4 more to go. I'm just being bullied right now. But yeah, 2022 prospects high. We're keen. Let's get you ready to go.
Yep. Yeah. I'm excited to see what Women's League looks like next year.
I mean, living in the moment as well, you guys. You look like you're having fun, and at the end of the day, that is all we want. Quickly, before you both leave, is there anyone you want to shout out, say thank you to? Final messages, both.
Yeah, I mean, big thanks to all the Grumpy Grapes and the supporters and our coaches, so Crescent, Bing Shaling, they've all helped us so much this season. So it's been really good.
It's been really good.
Well, look, congratulations, top 4 and potentially a top 3, depending on how that 3rd, 4th place match goes. We'll have to see, obviously, later on down the line. But we'll let you head off. We'll let you get ready for that one. Let you take a bit of a break, and we'll see you for that 3rd, 4th place match.
Thanks.
Proto. Big stuff. I mean, huge stuff from them. Unfortunately, I mean, the Warriors. They had to take on the Warriors in their semi-finals match. I do believe it probably could have been a 50-50 if they'd gotten Forsaken Boba, but unfortunately, that's just the way seeding goes.
Yeah, look, even against the team that they came up against for this finals matchup, the Warriors, they were a big feat to take on. But Grumpy Grapes, they really, I mean, you heard it from Yoshi and Bernabé there. They've been putting the work in. They've been putting in the scrims, the time together, the chemistry, and it was really showing tonight. I mean, a few rounds from the Grumpy Grapes this evening were just dominance. Maybe with this season, the off season now, they go and do some work. As you said, we'll see them next year in the finals to come again. But in terms of our second interview for the evening, obviously, the other side of the card, we're going to be talking to the Warriors girls next, asking them a few questions. But Panda, I mean, Grumpy Grapes, even going into next year, they're still looking like a pretty scary side.
I mean, we have talked about teams like that throughout the year. I remember back season 4, you had teams who just, even didn't quite make it into playoffs. They were starting to look good by the end of the round robin. Coming next stage, they looked even better. And then coming into season 6, it was just continued ramp up the skill. Going into 2022, obviously not 2020, 2022, there are a lot of teams that could be front runners in the next season of Wins League.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, while we wait for the interview, let's have a quick little look at that second map. Obviously, Clubhouse, more strategy heavy, still the same scoreline, but again, huge numbers coming out. I mean, the Warrior side of things, Soy, Sav, both with 2+ KDs. AJ close behind. Time for Pi chipping in as well. Aussie Princess, big numbers across the board. I mean, survivability rates even for the Warriors were nuts. So it just goes to show why they're undefeated even more, Panda. I mean, this says Chalet, but it was, we're talking about Clubhouse, so.
Look, both of them were commendable efforts. I mean, you look at Chaos after that Clubhouse, 10-6, so still absolutely giving it guts, hitting some crazy shots and taking down some of those key fraggers off the board. I mean, yeah, just the infinite possibility going into next year. These girls could go very, very far.
Even the interchangeability between the roles. I mean, we saw Yoshi not necessarily have the best of games on Chalet, unfortunately, just being constantly picked out by AJ, Sav, the likes, but stepped up this game. We saw her taking on those entry fights, a 3K clear through dirt into the site, ultimately netting them around wind downstairs. I mean, you do have to sort of commemorate the fact that Grumpy Grapes do have the ability to just switch between who's doing what, which ultimately could lead to obviously huge things from them in the future, given some more time in this off-season now, getting the time in with the coach, maybe making a couple changes here and there to who's playing what, maybe some roster swaps, all the same as we've said already. Grumpy Grapes, a huge showing from them this season, and honestly a very impressive one to say the least, Panda.
Yeah, look, I mean, either way, I think the Grumpy Grapes girls can feel quite happy about it. They can go celebrate, grab maybe some ice cream. I know I'm probably gunning for some ice cream after this one. It's hot here in New Zealand right now. And, just a bit of chilling after everything goes off. And they've got another match to look forward to in the season, at the very least, taking on either Overt or Forsaken Boba.
Yes, Forsaken Boba or Overt, depends who they verse. Obviously, that game is still yet to be played and will be played in the very near future. But while we wait for this second interview, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut to a very short break again, get the girls in, and then we will be right back.
Can you feel me? I'm so sad if I to show my feelings for you. Need to know what you're feeling, know what you're feeling. I'm so scared if I to show my feelings for you. Can you feel me? Can you feel me? I'm so scared if I to show my feelings for you. Need to know what you're feeling, know what you're feeling. I'm so scared if I to show my feelings for you. Can you feel me?
I have to stop going back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you. I have to stop going back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Yeah, to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you. 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 I like to start going back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from our short break. Another interview to finish things off. We have, this time, the Warriors coming in to have a chat with us. AJ and Aussie Princess. Panda, what do we think?
Welcome, ladies. You guys picked yourself up a big one. I love the representation. Incredibly accurate so far. Nice. But you're back into the finals. Aussie, it's been a season off for you. You're coming back to comp. How's it feeling for both of you? The Warriors looking good?
Yeah. I took a season break and just sat back and watched, and I had some serious itching to come back and play comp, and I'm so glad I did. To play with all these girls, all my really close friends, is just a wonderful experience, and they're doing amazing work, honestly, carrying me through every game. It's beautiful.
Oh, look, I wouldn't say carrying. Warriors as a unit definitely gets the job done. I mean, tonight, 2 huge games, 7-3, 7-3 against Grumpy Grapes. Continue to be undefeated. AJ, do you think you guys can continue that stint all the way through now with the last game coming up? Or, any skepticism, or are you quite confident?
Yeah, I hope so. We're pretty confident as a team. We haven't been able to do as much prep going into the last few games as we'd hope. But I think we've learnt a lot from the game with the Grapes. It's always great playing against them. They're great competition, and we've got some stuff to work on for the next game. So we'll definitely be taking it to Boba.
Okay, bold call,
Oh,
given that there
okay.
is still a semi-final to be played there. But, I mean, look, a bit of banter is always appreciated in the competition. I mean, going into the grand
It's just
final...
bants, bro. It's just bants.
Yeah, just bants. I mean, we've seen Quacked go there, a former iteration of a number of you. Any concerns that, there will be any challenge, or is it just, we've got this, the title's ours, it's only a matter of time?
We definitely we respect all the teams. We know everyone's great. We're definitely putting a lot of work into this last one. And yeah, never underestimate any team. We know that anyone could win on any day, so we'll definitely be taking it seriously.
And obviously, going forward for the finals now, are you guys going to be ramping up any of your practice regime, or are you going to keep things relatively sort of chill going into the finals against whoever you may verse? Not necessarily Forsaken Boba, but I mean, there's a chance for the same. What's the training regime looking like going into this finals sort of setting?
Well, it's a bit hard. Our schedules are quite rough at the moment. My profile picture probably looks a bit silly, but it's because I live on a farm at the moment. So my PC stays in Melbourne and I live on a farm, so I can only come down once a week for any sort of team stuff. So, and then everyone else's schedules are pretty rough. So it's hard for us to get the prep in that we want, but hopefully we can get some more time for this game.
And look, I mean, you guys picked yourselves up a coach this season, the one, the only, the Crips walking T-Rex, who's had that experience in the OCL. What's it like having had her experience in Tier 2 and then coming in and applying to your gameplay? What's that like to work with?
It's absolutely amazing. We're so glad and lucky to have Katie in putting in all the hard work that she's done, all the effort, all the hours, all the yelling, and just sticking with us throughout, like dry runs and TKs and all that. She brings a really different insight into the game and how things are supposed to be played out. But yeah, I don't know. It's good. She's good.
Aussie is good to answer that question because I would have just said KT smells. So
I mean, yeah, that too. But we're very lucky to have Katie. Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, she puts in a lot of time and effort for us, and we love her.
Yeah, we do. We give her a lot of smack, but we love her. We love her a lot.
It definitely shows through. I mean, you guys undefeated. It's enough saying as it is. Finishing off here for both of you, you've got the mics. Is there anything you want to say? Anyone you want to shout out before we let you guys get off this evening?
I do.
Obviously the Warriors, the support they give us as an org, we're very thankful to them. All the teammates, everyone that helps us along the way, everyone watches the streams. All my farmer friends who use their very limited internet in the farm to come and watch me play. But yeah, everybody along the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You, Aussie?
I would like to do a personal thank you to Wet for all his help with everything, and also Altered Zelios for their help with all the stuff throughout the season also. But just everyone that watches the streams and supports us, and all the players and the admins, just everyone. Thank you guys so much for all the hard work that you put in.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, from the Warriors themselves. Congratulations in this semi-finals. We will see you in the grand finals going forward. We've got to obviously play the other semi-finals, but congratulations for this evening and enjoy the rest of it. You guys have done really well tonight.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Okay.
Well, Proto, that does bring our semi-final number one to an end. We do have to play out the other one, Forsaken Boba versus Overt, to see who takes the grand final spot. If you go off what the Warriors say, they kind of have an idea of who it's going to be. But again, it's one of those we won't know until the day. And if the Grumpy Grapes, representation today gives an inkling, maybe we could see a potential upset. Maybe Overt can come out on top. Who knows? We are going to have to play that one out to figure it out, of course. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, because Alex scheduled it with me, that one is coming up this Saturday, very late. So it's going to be a fun day for all of us. And yeah, there you go. 11th of December, 9 p.m. AEST, which translates to about 11 p.m. Or actually, no, 12 p.m. if you're in New Zealand. So that's going to be a fun start if I end up broadcasting that, which I think I am at the moment. But I mean, look, Proto, big stuff from the Warriors, who look like they might take the whole thing untested.
Yeah, we could definitely see an undefeated run from them, already seating themselves in the grand final. I mean, tonight again was just a reiteration of why they have gone undefeated this season. They have consistently performed at that high level. They've been a step ahead. They may lose a few rounds here and there, but I mean, let's be honest. You heard it from there. They've got the coaching coming in. They've started to put good work in, albeit it's honest work. You saw it in the meme. They make it work, though. I mean, they really do. It speaks numbers how well the Warriors can play when it comes to game day. And I mean, look, going into the finals, they seem pretty confident. They know what they want to try and aim for here. So the question is now in semi-final 2, who's going to come out on top? Is it going to be Forsaken Boba, like they skepticise, or is it going to be Overt to triumph their way through to that grand finals bracket? Panda, we're going to have to find that out next week.
Well, end of this week, actually.
End of this week, sorry.
Yeah. It's going to be a long day because we've got some other things going on Saturday, which could be fun. And there's actually something else coming up on Sunday, which could be a bit of fun as well. A couple of our Women's League players are going to be playing in the OCN charity match. So if you're around, make sure you check that one out. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. There's some big names. And I know AJ's playing in it. And if she plays like she did today, she might find herself playing on a Tier 1 roster come next year.
You never know. You never know. It's all prospects at this point. I mean, definitely would be a good pickup for any team. So, teams, if you're watching, keep that in mind for next roster swap. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all we have for our broadcast this evening. Obviously, thank you to everybody behind the scenes, Bing Chiling, our observer, aka Nuttery. Thank you so much to Alex as well on the observers, and obviously Blue Panda. Thank you so much for being a part of the casting team. And make sure you're back next week. Not
this
next
Saturday.
week. This weekend. This Saturday. I said it again. We love that. Goldfish memory. But this Saturday is when the second semi-final is going to go on, so make sure you don't miss that. Panda, any closing thoughts?
Who's Cthulhu?
Yeah, who's Cthulhu? We love Cthulhu, though, on a real.
Look, I think he's going to be back this Saturday. If I saw the roster, so we'll get him back in. We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, I mean, for us here, semi-final 1, done and dusted, on to semi-final 2.
Congratulations to the Warriors. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evenings. It's been an absolute blast, as always. Have a good one. We'll catch you on Saturday.
Powered by AMD 3rd Gen Ryzen processors, the ROG Strix B550F gaming Wi-Fi provides first-class gaming features and style. The B550F Wi-Fi features a robust 12+2 DR-MOS-teamed Power Stage VRM design with high-quality alloy chokes and durable capacitors to provide reliable power for the latest high-core count AMD CPUs. Fanless VRM and chipset heatsinks with our StatCool 3+ design keep your system running reliably under heavy load by enhancing passive cooling capacity for critical onboard components. For the best gaming connectivity, you get Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, and 2.5 gigabit LAN with Asus LAN Guard. You also get dual M.2 NVMe SSD slots, one with PCIe 4.0x4 connectivity, plus a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port and Thunderbolt 3 header. Our pre-mounted I/O shield makes installation a breeze, and with USB BIOS flashback technology, your system's firmware can be updated for next-gen CPUs using nothing more than a PSU and a USB flash drive. A pristine Supreme FX S1220A codec with DTS Sound Unbound and Sonic Studio 3 draws you deeper into the action. Communicate clearly with Asus AI noise-canceling mic technology. Asus exclusive AuraSync RGB lighting, including 2 RGB headers plus 1 Gen 2 addressable RGB header, let you make your PC's lighting uniquely yours. ROG Strix motherboards undergo an extensive certification program to ensure the very best compatibility with the widest range of components and devices. For a smooth build process, refer to our list of guaranteed compatible components. Ascend to next gen with the ROG Strix B550F gaming Wi-Fi.
Up to you. Up to you. I'm stuck inside of these walls within.